afternoon, football fans, and welcome back to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. Day number 2 of NFC Week, and day number 2 of the entire 8-episode series. Oh yeah! Yesterday, we finished a solid show talking NFC West, and well, today, we're heading on over to the NFC East. Oh yeah, we're going to have ourselves a ball. We're talking Commanders with Mike Pat. We're talking Philadelphia Eagles fly with Cash and Chris. We're talking New York Football Giants with Keith. And we're closing out the show talking about them boys, the Dallas Cowboys, with IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer Ashton. Ladies and gentlemen, so glad to be back today. What a division, right? Last year, the Cowboys dominated, winning by 3 games, 12-5 record, just to fall short in a very defensive game. You know I love my defensive games now. In a very defensive game to the Niners. Well, the Niners would go all the way to the NFC Championship. So, just saying, the Cowboys lost to a pretty solid team. The Eagles at 9-8, you know, they looked like they were okay, I guess. They had sparks of greatness, falling out that first round. Commanders, 7-10, and the Giants, well, let's just say they've seen better days, 4-13. What are they going to look like this year? How were their drafts? How are their free agency? How was the free agency period for all those teams? And what are we looking at moving forward? Oh, it's going to be great, y'all. 4 diehards right now, waiting on deck. And then, of course, me, your boy Larry B, at the end to deliver you my final weigh-in. Oh, yeah, y'all. 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. NFC Week, Day 2, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, football fans. Well, here we are yet again, day number 2. I just want to say big ups and thank you to everybody who tuned in yesterday and who was a part of yesterday's show. Man, that was a great one. Starting things off with the NFC West. And here we go on to day number 2. My goodness, it was so fun yesterday. And how about them stick it to them segments? I'll tell you today, you won't be disappointed because we know the NFC West. We know all divisions can't stand each other, right? Each other while being a fan of one of those 4 teams. But man, these guys today really brought it. Definitely having a great stick it to them segment. All 4 of them, I believe. And well, we're going to get to those later on today. But wonderful stuff. And certainly excited for today's show. So once again, you guys, a little bit of a preview. You know, the Cowboys, a solid football team, a team that we all know has been a team that has it, but hasn't done it, really. In the last couple of years, I feel the Cowboys really, a couple more pieces, a couple more things going their way, and they could have made a deep run, or maybe even a bowl appearance. Now, am I saying they would have won the bowl? That's up to them. But really, they had the pieces. Now we got to see what they can do this year with the pieces they put together. Now, the Eagles, it's just been crazy. The Eagles, they've been up and down. They've been a true roller coaster, man. They've been flying like an eagle, swooping down and going up to extreme heights. They had a Super Bowl in 2017, okay? Here we are now, a few years removed, and they're somewhat middle of the road. But can they be a strong contender this year? We'll see. The Commanders, new name, new team. I mean, really, I don't know what to say. I do feel that they have lots of pieces. The defensive line I've always admired for the last couple of years, for sure. But will it help them? Will they be able to break out the shadows right now of the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants? I mean, it's like there's sparks there, but I don't know. Sometimes you just kind of feel like, what are we watching? I mean, it's kind of sad to say. Don't get me wrong. The Giants beat my Raiders last year, okay? We know that. But I'm saying they got sparks. The Raiders were a playoff team last year. So the Giants definitely have sparks in there, but there's not too many sparks. I mean, last year, 4 games, there needs to be something happening there. So overall, you guys, this is a fun division, the old school powerhouse division of the NFL. Getting ready today. Once again, we got Mike Pat. Our very own Mike Pat, the chief editor of our blog and Let's Whine About Sports, the host of Let's Whine About Sports. Great stuff here, or Let's Whine About DMV Sports, that is. Great stuff as always. Then we're talking Cash and Chris after that with the Eagles. Oh man, they're a riot. Awesome stuff. Of course, they host our Philadelphia show, Philadelphia or Philly Sports Talk. Great stuff. Then we head on over to New Jersey, okay? But we head on over to the New York Giants, talking with Keith. Great dude, long-time IE Sports Radio listener and fan. And then we bring on a special treat. I mean, hey, they're all special treats. But Ashton, of course, I know you guys haven't heard from him in a while. He's just been grinding and busy as always. Well, this man took a little bit of time out of his busy schedule to talk about his Cowboys, IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer class of 2019, if I'm not mistaken, the second class of IE Sports Radio. So he is, it was awesome to speak with him just a little bit ago, actually. Recorded this one right before the show. So great stuff. Then, of course, you get my final weigh in. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and hand the mic over to these diehards. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope each and every one of you enjoy your days. And hey, enjoy the show. Once again, you're listening to 3 and Outs, 8 Divisions in 8 Days, NFC Week, day number 2, NFC East today, right here with me, your boy Larry B, on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back talking Commanders with Mike Pat after this.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
What's going on, everyone? Are you a fan of the greatest sport in the world? Then do I have the show for you. This is the Soccer Scoreboard Show, hosted by me, Andrew Hagenball, where I will take you on a journey around the world of soccer, talking important news, scores from all major leagues, including some you may never heard of before, tournaments, and so much more. Be sure you tune in every Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, as I told you, the man, the myth, the legend is with us here today. I'll tell you, glad to have him here for his, I can't even say upteenth time because, he's kind of like lived on the station pretty much almost since it has existed. So glad that he is here yet again. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but it's almost impossible. He is the host of the Let's Whine About DMV Sports, talking every sport in the DMV. He, of course, is the chief editor of the IE Sports Radio blog. He is, my goodness, he's actually the head of it. So, yeah, he manages everybody else's too. I guess that's chief editor, right? So he coordinates all of those. He was a longtime host on 3 and Out. He is also my special host special co-host every single season for the draft specials. This guy does everything but sell popcorn, and I'm glad to have him here today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming first up, he's not only first up of this NFC East show, he's actually first up of interviews this week. As you know, I pre-record all these interviews. Well, he's the first one on Saturday afternoon at 12 p.m. my time, 3 p.m. his time. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, after the gigantic introduction, glad to have him here to talk about his Washington Commanders. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Pat. What's going on for that? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. And fun fact, we did sell popcorn at a previous job of mine, so I guess you could say I do sell the popcorn too.
ain't nothing wrong with selling a little bit of popcorn, Mike.
No, popcorn's great.
Yeah, it is. It's delicious. I'll tell you right now. Cecilia and I over here can vouch for that. Popcorn's always a delicious treat. So, speaking of delicious treats, Mike, we're going to start things off talking a little bit about this new era, some people can call it that. Some people say, nope, same old team, new name. Some people will say, nope, new name, new me, kind of like, the New Year's type deal. I'm very curious to figure out your stance on this team this year, and well, this is the perfect place to do it. Here on 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. Day number 2 gets kicking off here live with Mr. Mike Pat. Starting off the show with the Washington Commanders. Mike, let's get to business, man. The Washington football team last season, as they were for a few years, well, it wasn't the greatest season, but I'm just saying. Last year was interesting, to say the least, but, well, I guess, we all know where they ended up, 7-10, because, we want to throw extra week in there because we think we're cute. But 7-10, I still hate this extra week thing.
Oh my God. Anyway, no, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, I know. We'll go off on it. Yeah, we'll forget about the Commanders after that. My goodness. But 7-10 season, not the easiest. No playoffs. Third place though, they're still better than the Giants. I'm just kidding. But we'll talk coming up more some Giants. But with that said, Mike, give us a little bit of I don't want to say every emotion from last season because we'll probably be here once again for a very long time. But give us your quick recap of last season and how you felt as a diehard.
Well, last season didn't entirely surprise me. We had, coming into the year, we had one of the weakest quarterback rooms in the NFL, and that showed throughout the season. We dealt with lots of injuries. On the defensive line in particular, we lost our 2 top defensive ends, Chase Young and Montez Sweat, by midseason. On offense, the whole offensive line was continually reshuffled. And yeah, just with actually really below average quarterback play, it really limited the potential of what this team could do. And week in and week out, whenever I would watch games, that's what I saw. I saw a team that tried to control tempo, run the ball, manage the clock, minimize the risks, and put it on the other team to try to, be flashy and outscore them, which is not a bad strategy, but it is a low upside, low reward type game. Yes, you aim to make every game 17-14 or 20-14, which I know you like, Larry B, from a defensive man's perspective. But the moment a team gets to 24, they were in the dump. So, it was a limited upside due to an incredibly weak quarterback room. I love Tyler Heineke's energy when he's on the field, but in terms of like the actual play and the actual, level of skill, it's not at a quality NFL quarterback level.
I agree, Mike. I mean, take a look at last year's schedule, courtesy of FBschedules.com. I mean, you guys started off the season. It was incredible, man. That Charger game, we knew the Chargers were going to be a solid team, and you guys almost beat them to start the season off away. Right. Home. You guys were home. But, there's a lot of things. I mean, as the season progressed, I mean, you took a big L to the Buffalo Bills, which we knew were going to be a pretty solid team. Scraping by the Falcons, that was already another red flag, like, okay. But the test was the Saints, you fell apart. Another test was the Kansas City Chiefs. Another fall apart. The next test after that was Green Bay. Let's not talk about that one. So, I mean... Nope. So realistically,
and it didn't help as well. It didn't help coming off of winning the division in 2020. Now you have a first place schedule, which means you get all of the first place teams in the conference, and that's just not gonna bode well. That difficulty, that level of difficulty for a team like that.
Yeah, Mike. There were just so many tough ones. I mean, the Raiders. Dare I say, I always say harsh things about my Raiders. And Mike, I think you have to be the number one person that knows this because you've been on 3 and Out with me many times where I have literally nothing good to say about them. But last year, we weren't so bad. We looked pretty solid, a playoff team. That was a crazy Week 17 game versus the Chargers to go to the playoffs. But right. We're not talking about the Raiders. Regardless, though, I mean, that Sunday, no, it wasn't Sunday Night Football, but where, you guys came on over to Vegas. It was a close contest. 17-15. I mean, so many close games. The Cowboys are pretty solid, and you guys damn near beat them at home. And then it got ugly because I just feel like the season, I don't know, Mike, give me this. But I will never forget watching Sunday Night Football the day after Christmas. Mike, I know. I'm sorry. You can throw rocks at me when we all meet as a IE Sports Radio family one day. It's just fine with me. You can punch me in the gut for this one. It's all right. But seeing you guys just, it was like watching an out of control Madden game. I mean, 56-14. The Cowboys took your guys' lunch money and then it's like taking...
And then they came back for our shoes later on in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was destructive. You guys were, I think at this time, I forgot what, you guys were still somewhat, I think, in the playoff hunt. I don't know if you were eliminated just yet. We had 2 weeks to go.
I think that was the game that put us out of reach.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. I think we were teetering, we needed 87 things to happen, but then that happened, and it was yep, that's it. But that's the type of thing that can happen when your team was run the way it was run.
Yes.
You know, when your entire philosophy is based off of control, well, what happens when you lose the control? It all goes downhill.
Exactly.
Straight downhill.
Yeah, that thing was the log ride at Disneyland, man. Yep. You couldn't have gone downhill faster than that one, man. So you guys looked, that was pretty much it. Fall apart to the Eagles after that, and then a victory over the Giants, yay! But the Giants have proven by that point to be, just the bottom half, the basement, if you will, of the NFC East, and well, there it stood. So, Moving forward now, I know having to relive all that pain. My apologies, Mike. But moving forward into this next one, we get into the offseason. And you know what, Mike? There was some things to smile about. At least I would think. Some pretty good pickups. There were some... I don't know how you feel. I like Scherf a lot. Brandon Scherf headed to the Jaguars. To me, that was a pretty key departure. You guys would acquire Carson Wentz. Is he the guy? We'll find out right now. Trey Turner, pretty solid lineman from the Steelers. They're in a complete rebuild right now, so I think they're just kind of doing the, hey, we got to restart. So him coming over to the Commanders, I think, is pretty dang good. So honestly, there was a lot of moves. I'm not going to sit here and talk about all of them because, well, that's what I want you to do. So let us know, Mike. Tell us, what do you think from the offseason? You can go ahead and go into everything now. I mean, we'll get to the draft in a minute. If you want to start acquiring the draft during this period, that's completely fine. But talk about the offseason. What changes were made? What changes weren't made? Talk about the new name if you'd like. I mean, the whole offseason up to this point, what do you think, Mike?
Well, I don't think there was a ton for Washington to lose going into the offseason. You look at the names, they're all pretty, that are still on the roster, they're all pretty similar. A handful of changes on the offensive line, yes, with the departure of Brandon Scherf. For a while, it was a little strange the way they were operating because, so they had, in two positions particularly, offensive line and defensive tackle, all right? So offensive line, Brandon Scherf was a free agent, and they had a lot of money owed to Eric Flowers, but he was very easily releasable. He had no guaranteed money. Well, the team turns around, releases Flowers, but also doesn't re-sign Scherf. So you would think it would be one or the other. It ended up being both. Now you have both your starting offensive guards out. Similar with defensive tackle, you had your two top reserves. Tim Settle was a free agent, and Matt Ioannidis, big contract, little guaranteed money, same thing. Release Ioannidis, let Settle walk. Now you have no depth at defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. So for a while, it was a little bit strange. They did make it up via the draft. And then at offensive guard, like you said, they signed Trey Turner, also signed Andrew Norwell, it's the old guard duo from Carolina. Go figure. Ron Rivera bringing in his guys, which would have been an awesome duo to have 3 years ago. Probably a little bit older now. Looks like, well, actually, Trey Turner's not 30 yet. Andrew Norwell is 30, so they're still in reasonable prime years, but. Overall, it was just kind of an okay offseason, which is fine because there really wasn't that much to do. You mentioned trading for Carson Wentz, which his contract looks like a steal now compared to what some of the other quarterbacks are getting. But overall, I think the team filled the needs they needed to fill. They didn't give up the bank to do so. So overall, not bad.
There is no way I can ever disagree with any of that because it's true, Mike. I mean, okay, it's always kind of mean to say stuff like this, but hey, it's the truth. Because I remember even like in high school, I mean, we were never like a top team, but I remember our coach always letting us know. I mean, we were pretty damn good. It's just, we were a bunch of eyes and not a us, basically. And at that age, we didn't really understand, I guess. But at the end of the day, he always let us know, hey, when we're at the bottom, there's only one way to go, up. So I wouldn't necessarily say the Washington, football team last year or the Commanders this year, I wouldn't necessarily say they were at the bottom, but, definitely not at the top. And it's kind of, I feel like unless you completely just start doing stupid things and signing players who are like, who is that? And releasing some of your top names, they're just doing really dumb things. I feel like it was kind of hard to even screw this offseason up. I mean, is that sound pretty plausible to you or no?
Yes, and I think the reason you can make that argument in this particular case is because, like I said, we had so many guys under contract that, unless we started like kicking them out, we were going to be in pretty good shape. When the player's under contract, unless they're acting weird, like, oh, Deebo Samuel, sorry to call out the 49ers there. Shout out to Gina G, by the way, if she happens to listen to this. They're going to stay. So, you had a lot of players already locked up. A lot of the key players on this team are young, still on rookie deals, so they're not going anywhere. And honestly, unless the team had settled for, I'm trying to think of like an absolutely average and mediocre quarterback, if they had settled for Andy Dalton to be their quarterback, they were going to upgrade that position group. So,
yes.
Getting Carson Wentz, most people are like, not a great deal. But at the same time, he upgrades the quarterback group. So how can you complain about that? So, no, I think like, to your point, yes, they could have messed this offseason up, but it would have actually taken more effort, I think, to mess it up than to do what they did. So I'm glad that they didn't make it harder on themselves.
Totally agree, Mike. So transitioning now a little bit more into the draft. My gosh, you guys, I've heard so many mixed reviews about this. We had our draft show. I love how you always say, you don't give them a grade until, you see what they do. I completely agree with that, Mike, and I love how you say that. But I can't. There's nothing in me that says they made a bad choice here. Jahan Dotson, amazing pickup from Penn State with the 16th overall pick. I thought that was amazing. You guys pick up Badarian Mathis out of Alabama. I mean, you already have Daron Payne. I mean, as I always say, this is the defensive line from hell. Chase Young, Daron Payne. You have Jonathan Allen, which is there now. I think, well, that might be the plug-in for this young man, Mathis, or, they could be sharing reps, or he's in rotation. I don't know. I'm not saying that Jonathan Allen is going to get replaced, but what I am saying is that, there's going to be a rotation there. And then you guys have Montez Sweat, a guy that I was so high on a couple years ago coming out into the NFL, and he's proven that. So it's like you just added more to this monstrous defensive line. So with that, you guys have Brian Robinson Jr. that you picked up out of Alabama, the running back. So there's a lot of good pickups here. Overall, Mike, what did you guys think about your draft? I'm not going to ask you to give it a grade, but I will say, what do you think about this draft? And I guess if you want to transition also at that point in time, we can take a look at the depth chart now and just kind of talk about where these guys could fit in and who you like right now starting and who you think maybe have their job kind of on the line. What do you think, Mike?
So I actually had a lot of mixed feelings about the Commanders draft. And I think a lot of it stems from their initial decision to trade back. So they went into the draft on draft day. They had the 11th overall pick. By the way, fun fact, that was the first trade of the first round, was when Washington moved back to 16 with New Orleans. Now, I don't think they could have foreseen the consequential events happen, because there were three guys who I really would have wanted Washington to take at 11. Kyle Hamilton, safety, of course, duh. And then Chris Olave and Jamison Williams. So the two receivers, and then Hamilton. Well, all three would go in the next four picks. And so Washington gets down to 16. There really isn't a great value fit need combination on the board. So they go with Dotson, a guy who a lot of people had a little bit later in the first round, but still a first-round receiver, and somebody who fills a need. So not a bad pick, but it wasn't a pick that wowed me at the same time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there is nobody who I would have taken at that point that would have wowed me just because of the way everything fell out. The best player still on the board, in my opinion, was Jermaine Johnson, which, yeah, we could have drafted another pass rusher if we had darn well felt like it, but I feel like that would have been accepted to your point about our defensive line. So then in the second round, Badarian Mathis, again, solid pick, didn't wow me. We kind of created our own need at defensive tackle, as I alluded to in the free agency bit, by releasing Matt Ioannidis and letting Tim Settle walk. So So we kind of forced ourselves into needing a defensive tackle. And with the situation with Daron Payne, where he's in the last year of his contract, there's a little bit of drama earlier in the offseason, probably won't re-sign. The pick makes sense, and it fits the need. And then the weirdest pick to me was Brian Robinson Jr. at the end of the third round. Now, the reason why this was the weirdest pick is because the team just took Antonio Gibson in the third round or fourth round 2 years ago, and he's been the starter since the moment he walked in. He has 2,000-yard seasons under his belt. They re-signed J.D. McKissick in the offseason to be that scat-back third-down guy to catch passes. And they had Jarrett Patterson, who they signed as an undrafted free agent last year, spent the whole year on the roster, is pretty good as well. So I didn't really see the need for an additional running back. Don't get me wrong, it gives us a great running back core, but I would have preferred maybe somebody like a linebacker there, or perhaps one of the developmental quarterbacks, because we knew the quarterbacks had slipped a little bit, maybe one of those guys who were still on the board. I don't know, just something about that pick didn't fit well with me. But then the rest of the draft was great. I like Percy Butler in the fourth round. He's a guy who apparently I've seen scouts talking about how he flies all over the field like a cannonball shot out of a cannon. Sam Howell in the fifth, a nice developmental quarterback, a couple of depth pieces late. So later on, it was pretty solid, but the first two picks didn't wow me, and then the third pick was just strange. So I actually had an initial grade for Washington because I think it fits the description of how I felt about this draft, and that is a C. I felt average at the end of the draft.
That's the first time I heard Mike mention any kind of grade near the word draft on the show. So
yeah, it felt just okay.
I mean, C's get degrees, Mike. Just kidding.
C's get degrees, but do they put together good football teams?
That's different. This isn't school.
Yeah, this isn't school. These guys graduated school. These don't matter anymore.
Yeah, seriously. So if you want to see the field, you better perform. And if you want to see the door, then you don't. Poor Mike.
Right. If you don't want to be better, you can see the door.
I love this. I love that. Great stuff, Mike. Well, we have reached the final, let's say about 5 or 6 minutes. We got to get our little outro here to unplug Mike in the whole bit. So final talk here, Mike. This season, courtesy of Commanders.com, taking a look at the schedule, looks like you guys have the AFC South, if I'm not mistaken, and the NFC North, of course, combined with the NFC East, which you guys compete in. You got a few little, you got 2 games that are just out of those, of course. You got the Niners and Browns in there, but other than that, it's, the AFC South and the NFC North, so Texans, Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. You guys got the Bears, Packers, Vikings, and the Lions. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, just the 2 outlier teams, or the 2 miscellaneous, I guess, Browns and Niners, who are both very interesting teams on their own. But overall, with the Cowboys, you guys get all the same pretty much, except for, those 2 miscellaneous games. Pretty much the same schedules, just all mashed up. What do you think this season? I mean, you got them boys, you got a few different, you got that going on. What do you think? How do you feel about the Commanders' chances going into the season, being a playoff team? Do you think you can pull off something miraculous and win the division? I mean, do you feel you're going to be kind of the same until you guys figure things out? Where do you see this team this season?
Well, I think you have to remember that there are 2 different lenses in how you look at last season going into this season. The first lens is, we finished 7-10 because of blah, 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 blah. The other lens, and this is the lens that I choose to look through, is that we finished 7-10 in spite of certain things. We finished 7-10 in spite of the mediocre quarterback situation. We finished 7-10 in spite of all of the injuries on the offensive line. We finished 7-10 in spite of not having great weapons all around on the offense. So I think, if you look at last year versus this year, among the NFC East teams, I would say you could make the argument that the Commanders are probably the most improved team simply based off of the upgrade from Taylor Heineke to Carson Wentz at quarterback. Now, I know people are going to gripe about Carson Wentz, complain about this, that, the third, his career, whatever, but nobody in their right mind would argue that he is not massively better than the combination of Tyler Heineke, Kyle Allen, and the one game of Ryan Fitzpatrick that we got last year. So I think that upgrade alone probably increases our win total by 1 to 2. None of the other areas on the team are massively worse. You could argue that the offensive line got a little bit worse with Brandon Scherf departing, but Brandon Scherf was also hurt the last 2 seasons. So I think if you get a couple of guys like Trey Turner and Andrew Norwell, who to my knowledge have both been pretty durable in their careers, having good guys for 16 games is better than having great guys for 10.
You know what?
I don't know if you would agree with me or disagree with me with that, but I would say that that's a better situation. Or 17 games. Sorry, my bad, NFL. But I think, overall the team looks solid across the board. They have young playmakers. They have better weapons now on offense. I know I complained about the Brian Robinson draft pick, but he does give us a really good running back group. And obviously you have Jahan Dotson coming in as well. And I think overall it's not ridiculous to see this team to being 2 or even 3 games better. And oh, by the way, that gives them a winning record. So I think if you look at it in a scope of moving from last year to this year, some areas look better, no areas really look that much worse. And you look at the rest of the division, the Cowboys, I think they had an okay draft. They brought back Michael Gallup at receiver. So, offense, they're still going to be good. But that offensive line is a year older, and the defense is still young, and the young defenses can be vulnerable to mistakes.
They certainly can. So,
Giants.
Actually, Mike, real quick, I like that you're going right into this because, I think you remember the segment to end this off, man. And I think you're going the polite route, but we'll find out. I like how you're recapping everybody. With that said, put 2 minutes on the clock. I don't know if you got a timer, or if you're watching a clock, or if you can just try to do 2 minutes in your head. But we all know the segment we know and love at the end of these interviews for 8 divisions in 8 days here on 3 and Out. Stick it to them. So, Mike, you have 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes. Give us your thoughts on the rest of the division. You already kind of got the Cowboys, but if you can recap that for us real quick. Give us your thoughts on the other 3 teams that you kind of, love to not like. You can be nice, respectful. You can be mean and angry. You can have a combination of both. You can do whatever you want to and kind of just say what you will about the other 3 teams that you grew up not really caring for that much. There are 2 minutes on the clock. Mike, stick it to them.
All right, well, I'll start with the Giants because I hadn't said anything about them yet. Look, I can understand teams not wanting to own up to their mistakes, but I can't remember a team in recent memory that has made such a significant mistake as drafting Daniel Jones in the top 10, and then on top of that, in an attempt to not admit their mistake, continue to roll with him for 2 more years after that mistake had been made clear to everybody. The Giants, as long as Daniel Jones is their quarterback, I'm not worried about them in any way, shape, or form taking the division. That's number 1 out of the way. Eagles, I like some of the moves they made, but until Jalen Hurts proves that he's anything more than really a rushing threat at quarterback, I'm not really scared of this team. They've got some nice players on defense. They've got some nice players on offense. That offensive line is pretty good. But again, until Daniel Jones takes it to the next, or not Daniel Jones, sorry, scratch that, Jalen Hurts takes it to the next level, I'm not worried about it. And the Cowboys, they scare me a little bit. Dak Prescott's pretty good, and, they've got some nice players. But, this is the same team that ran a quarterback sneak with 16 seconds left in a playoff game. So, clearly the decision-making might still not necessarily be there. So, none of these teams put fear into me, and I think I'm not going to say we're going to sweep all of them, but we have a chance to win against every team in this division every week.
I love it. 132. Look at that. He's going to throw it in for 132. Great time, Mike. Wonderful stuff here today, man. And I love your take on these, well, on all of those teams, and especially your very own. Mike, we're pretty much out of time, brother. But with that said, we're going to send you off right, man. You were the first interview of this year of 8 Division 8 days here in 2022 for the 2022 season. Sorry, 2022-2023 season. And glad to have you aboard, man. So with that said, brother, go ahead and get that plug in, man. Go ahead, anything. Your show, of course, coming up tomorrow night, which was a couple days ago, if we're talking about, live on the show right now. You know how that goes. But, Mike, plug all your good stuff, man. Where can they find you? Where can all these diehard Commanders fans find you and talk some football with you, man? And what else you got going on?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Let'sWine_IESR. I'm always in there talking football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever's going on at the time. You can also check out my show, Let's Wine About DMV Sports, on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. That airs on Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We drink wine and we talk about sports. It's pretty chill. And, of course, check out our blog work, iesportsradioblog.wordpress.com. We got a lot of stuff up there, and it's not just me. It's a bunch of other people here with us at IE Sports Radio, so definitely check us out there as well.
Oh, it's a ball. Trust me, you're going to love every bit of what Mike Pat does here on the station, and we couldn't appreciate you more, brother. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude the first team of Tuesday, of course, the NFC East day here on 3 and Out. 8 divisions in 8 days, day number 2, rolling forward. That is now 5 teams in the books, 3 more to go for the NFC. Well, 5 teams in the books overall, and 3 more teams to go for the NFC East. Coming up next, we got a treat for you guys as we are talking with the hosts of Philly Sports Talk. We got Mr. Bobby Cash and Mr. Chris Amos coming on over to talk about their Eagles, and let's see what they have to say about these Commanders and the other 2 teams as well in the division, as well as their own. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this segment, capping off the Commanders. When we get back, we're talking Philadelphia Eagles right here on 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. NFC East Day. Don't go nowhere, y'all. We'll be right back after this.
What is going on, everybody? This is Ben Matello, the host of the Yinzer Report, right here on IE Sports Radio. I'm bringing you the latest in the Steel City, the City of Champions, from the Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, as well as the college game with both Penn State and Pitt. You could join me every Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, where I'll be talking about everything from the Steel City, the City of Champions, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris, the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, we started out in Washington, D.C. talking with Mike Pat about his Washington Commanders. And, well, we have making our way up to Philadelphia to talk about those Philadelphia Eagles. Hashtag Fly Eagles Fly. And to help me do that here today, glad to have not just one, but two. You gotta have the pair with these two. I mean, they're awesome individuals, but man, together they pack a punch. Glad to have them here for the next 30 minutes for the second segment of the show. Once again, if you're just tuning in, thank you very much for tuning in to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. Day number 2, NFC East Day here on this lovely Tuesday. This interview was actually recorded on Sunday, but this lovely Tuesday afternoon here. Let's get to it. They are, of course, quite the pair on air. You can catch them every Tuesday evening. They are like clockwork, man. They have some pretty funny takes, very serious takes. And my goodness, I don't know if there's a segment better than the Philadelphia, what is it, the world, the minute? I love it. Like the Flyers minute. The Flyers minute. I mean, these guys have it down. They're awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming, together, I can introduce them individually, but welcoming first up, glad to have him here today to talk some Philadelphia Eagles, one half of the Philadelphia Sports Talk here at IE Sports Radio, Mr. Chris Amos. How you going today, Mr. Chris? How you doing today, man?
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, whichever it is that someone's tuning in to listen to us. It's always the right time to listen when you check in to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, but I'm doing good.
That is very correct, and glad to have you here. Chris, these guys together, I'm serious. If you guys have never heard the show before, if you're new to IE Sports Radio, I don't care if you're a Cowboy fan. Well, that might be a little problem. But, I mean, hey, it doesn't depend on what kind of fan you are. Trust me, you're going to want to hear these guys. It's like listening to two talking encyclopedias. It's amazing, the amount of facts that they have off the top of their head. It's awesome. Also, the other half of Philly Sports Talk here at IE Sports Radio. Glad to have him here, man. He is Mr. Bobby Cash. What's going on, brother? How you doing today, man?
What's up, Larry? Thanks for having us. Beautiful Sunday afternoon down here in, where am I? I'm in New Jersey.
Hey.
10 miles from Atlantic City. Yeah.
Hey.
Probably going to hang out at the Hard Rock tonight, but spend my afternoon talking to you about Eagles football.
That's what I'm talking about, gentlemen. Let's get with it, man. I know we don't got a whole bunch of time, but it's going to be great the time we have. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut up the majority of this interview. At least I try to. So let's go ahead and start things off with a little bit of last season. All right, so last season, Philadelphia, my goodness. The Eagles start things off, pretty darn solid. You guys had a nice little victory at home, looked pretty good. Then you guys, completely fall apart. The next week, my goodness, it's incredible. A 3-game skid, then a victory, then a 2-game skid, then a victory, then a 1-game skid, then a two-win streak. Yay! 1 loss, 4 victories in a row, and then 1 loss here at the very end of the season. And well, what do we have after that? A wild card appearance where you guys would fall to good old Tom and the Bucks. My goodness, what a season. At least you guys made it. 9-8 on the season now. Or finished 9-8. You know what? Pretty solid year for the most part. You guys would finish second place, only to the Cowboys, of course, who went 12-5. But you guys had the Commanders' number and the Giants for sure. So go ahead and talk us through that. How did you guys feel all through last season? I definitely heard you guys every Tuesday. That was that was a lot of fun. But how was it for you guys last year riding the wave of these Eagles?
Well, I believe we were on the show with you a year ago, about right now, right?
Sure, you sure were.
And we did the preview, and we basically laid it out just like you had just said. It was a schedule that was top-loaded, that was very tough in the beginning of the year, and that would lighten up for the second part of the year, and that's pretty much how it played out. What we didn't see coming was the amount of backup quarterbacks the Eagles would face as the year would go on. They faced the likes of Garrett Gilbert and Jake Fromm. It was amazing the breaks they were getting because of injuries and because of COVID and just the way everything had worked out. And, they got wins we didn't think they would get. They didn't really lose many games we thought they wouldn't lose, but it's the NFL. No game is going to be on paper how you think it's going to go. And they got their breaks. They made it to the playoffs. Jalen Hurts got playoff experience. They got shellacked in Tampa Bay, but it was a learning experience and something to build on. You won't want to give away the rest of the show, but yeah, that's last year in a nutshell.
Yeah, anytime you can go from your record being 2-5 to being a playoff team, that's a pretty good turnaround in the season. Even though they did play those backup quarterbacks and some teams that were depleted due to COVID, some interesting games like a Tuesday night game against Washington, but still, as Bobby said, they got into the playoffs, got some experience, and situation where we didn't expect them to lose like that in the playoffs, but we did expect them to lose that game.
Yeah, you guys are, and don't get me wrong, I think I love it because we have on the station the diehard, the dreamers, the ones that are like, hell no, I don't care what the odds are, we're all about it. And you know what? I love it because it's like there's that passion. I mean, well, on the other side, we also have some like more realists. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. That are like me with my Raiders. I give it to you straight. And honestly, I love that too because you guys, you say it, and it's funny because it's like you guys almost called every single game correctly, I believe, last year. Like, you weren't – the games that you knew were probably going to be a loss, you said it. And the games that you knew were more than likely wins, you said it. So, I mean, I love that realistic view. You're not being, a-holes to your guys' fan base, but you're giving Philly exactly – what it is, and awesome stuff, man. You guys, like I said, I think you guys almost called that entire season perfectly. So yeah, I guess like the playoff game, you knew that was kind of would be a maybe one-sided, maybe not the easiest game for you guys, and that's what it was. But overall, man, solid performance though, and as I said earlier, Bobby, I mean, you guys started out 2-5. My goodness, you turned to a playoff team, and I mean, really, this team was a Super Bowl team just a couple of years ago. So, I mean, my gosh, they're still a dangerous team to watch, or a fun team to watch, and still a dangerous team to play. So, let's go ahead and take a look now into free agency. Now, the offseason, of course, is a monster because you never know what's going to happen. Guys come in and go in, and big contracts, trades, blockbuster trades. All these things. And that's right. Last year, you guys were on this show, and it's true. You nailed it. I mean, you guys really have this team down. You think you guys have been in Philly long enough to know how how it works. So let's take a quick look here at the Eagles free agency. And then, of course, you guys definitely got the floor because, man, it was I don't know. We'll talk about it. So, courtesy of overthecap.com, some key departures, I feel, or at least, some departures for sure. Steven Nelson heading over to the Texans. You guys had, let's see here. Who else did you guys have take off? Singleton, linebacker, head on over to the Broncos. Jernard Avery, of course, heading to the Steelers. So you guys had some departures. Hassan Ridgeway, of course. Remember seeing him get drafted. Heading on over to the Niners. So, there's some departures. Rodney McLeod. But there were some big pickups as well. James Bradbury now heading over to the Eagles from a very familiar place, the Giants. Hassan Riddick. Yeah, that could be pretty solid. Heading on over to the Eagles from the Panthers. You also have A.J. Brown, I think the elephant in the room here. So before I just continue to talk when it's not my place to talk, Gentlemen, talk us through this free agency. What did you like about it? What did you dislike about it? What are some players think you should have gone over? Gone after. I mean, give it to us. Free agency in a giant nutshell. What did you guys think?
I think Howie Roseman did a great job. He brought in, like you said, Hassan Reddick, guy that went to college here in Philly. He played at Temple.
Mm-hmm.
We saw his whole career, and he was first-round pick. He went to Arizona Cardinals and had a Pro Bowl season there. He went down to Carolina and played for his college coach, Matt Rule. That's a great pickup. They signed him to a 3-year contract, $45 million, $30 million guaranteed. So they put a lot of eggs in his basket. So they're going to expect a lot from him. They re-signed Greg Ward. He's been here for a couple of years, and he's a veteran wide receiver. He's a guy that's going to bring the young guys along. I think he's not really there to produce. He's a guy probably get you 20 catches tops this season. They brought in Kazir White, who's a guy from the Chargers, who you probably know more about than we do.
Sure do.
Ask you about him. What do you think of Kazir White? You know him?
Yeah, I sure do. Overall, energetic player. I mean, Kazir White, I've always thought was, a solid athlete who he could really make some things happen. Quick guy, speedy kind of guy. I don't want to say he's a bigger dude. I mean, he's 6'2", 218, so his weight kind of just carries over to his height, but he's a solid dude. Certainly, he's not too old. He's only 26, if I'm not mistaken, 26, 27, somewhere in that area. So honestly, I think you guys got a pretty good pickup in Kazir White.
Yeah, I mean, he got a lot of tackles from what I read.
Oh man, yeah, he's like over 300, I think, or somewhere around there. The guy is an athlete, man. So I think you guys got certainly a great linebacker in Kazir White.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's a good pickup. We're bringing back Boston Scott on a 1-year deal. He's been a great fill-in. If Miles Sanders gets hurt, he's a guy you can throw in there and not really miss a beat. They signed Zach Pascal from the Colts, who I think can do a great job in the slot as a number 3 receiver. That's a nice signing. They brought back Derek Barnett, and they actually signed a guy, Devin Allen. Don't know much about him, but he's an Olympic hurdler and a speedster. He's 27 years old. He finished, I think, 4th in the Olympics in the 40-yard dash. He's the guy with speed. So a 3-year deal to him, I guess number 4, number 5 receiver. Can't complain there. So all in all, great job. I didn't mention A.J. Brown because that was through the draft, but that's of course your number 1 receiver coming into play with Devontae Smith.
Certainly. We'll be getting to the draft in a few minutes. But yeah, anything to add, Chris?
Yeah, the offense looks like it's going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL as long as Jalen Hurts takes the next step. And it's interesting because the last few years, the drawback was wide receivers, and that's not an issue this year going into the season. So a lot of improvements on the team, a lot of people with a lot of high hopes for the team as well. I mean, high hopes is more of a Phillies comment, but it'll be interesting to see how everything gels once the season starts and how things roll starting in Detroit and then coming home to play Minnesota.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great for sure this season. I can't wait to talk about that in a few minutes here. But man, overall, look, I love it. Right now, looking at this depth chart, my gosh, courtesy of ESPN.com, Jalen Hurts seems to be the man. If not, Gardner Minshew's there. I mean, you guys got some options. Miles Sanders is there as well. Of course, talk about A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor. I know you guys had some mixed emotions on him or some thoughts. You still got the great Travis. Wow. My bad. I'm sorry, Jason. He's off the great Jason Kelsey. They're holding down as the general of the line. He would probably be like F you right now if you heard me. My apologies, brother. Of course, but you guys have Jason Kelsey's a monster there. Lane Johnson is back, hopefully, staying healthy. I mean, honestly, that side of the ball looks good. Brandon Graham, Cox, Hargrave, Barnett. My gosh, this looks like a solid defensive line. I mean, you guys have great athletes. Darius Slay's there. Now you add Kazir White, Anthony Harris, Bradbury's now added to it. Kuzik Tart. I mean, you guys have a solid freaking defense as well. So I look forward to seeing the Eagles play this year. So really fast, let's go ahead and dab on over to the to the draft because man, what a day for you guys. I feel. 13th overall pick, Jordan Davis. My gosh, I mean, Georgia breaks the record. What do they have? 6 or 7 taken in the first round. I mean, they make it happen. These guys are here to play. You put a guy like Jordan Davis next to Fletcher Cox, that's just gonna be fun. I'm a defensive guy. I'm a defensive line guy. Watching these guys dominate is gonna be fun this year. I can't wait to see Eagles and Cowboys, man, because I'm not even gonna be looking at anywhere else but the trenches. My gosh, Cox versus, I mean, you have this amazing offensive line. You got Tyron Smith there. I mean, you know, they just have tons of talent on this offensive line, and now this defensive line for the Eagles, that's going to be fun to watch. So, with your draft, though, once again, Jordan Davis. In second round, you guys pick up Cameron Jurgens. Pretty solid center out of Nebraska. I think somebody needed to learn a lot from Kelsey. Kobe Dean, another beast out of Georgia at linebacker in the third round. I mean, you guys had a pretty dang good draft. At least that's what I think. Some later round guys as well. But tell us, you guys, what do you think? What did you guys personally think about the draft?
Yeah, Chris, you can take it.
Yeah, my only drawback on the draft was, of course, you don't know how these guys are going to transition to the NFL. The first overall pick, I know it was a guy who a number of teams wanted. He's a guy who didn't have a lot of sacks at Georgia. Obviously, that wasn't what he was there for. He's there to stop the run. The NFL is a passing league. So you have a guy who is going to be on the field 2 plays maximum, and we'll see how that works out. He wasn't a guy, like I said, who was known for getting to the quarterback, and that's what's needed in the NFL. Now, hopefully, him being there in that line and being able to stop the run is going to free up other guys to be able to get to the quarterback on those passing plays. But like you said, when they play Dallas, it's not Emmitt Smith back there running anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out. Other than that, what they did in the draft, I don't have any complaints about. Like I said, a lot of that stuff has to pan out. Second-year coach, Nick Sirianni, obviously what he did last year was above and beyond, I think, what a lot of people expected, especially after the start. And we'll see. It's always that way with the NFL to see how these guys turn out. On paper, yes. Do you win on paper? Unfortunately not.
That is the truth. Completely agree with that. Games are not won on paper, so completely agree with that. What did you think, Bobby?
They didn't have many picks. They only got, 5 picks in the draft.
Yeah.
Of course, Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is the type of guy I think the Baltimore Ravens take. You know, a guy with all upside, a freakish athlete. Of course, you know, we look forward to watching him. The key is going to be, does he lose the weight? From what I'm hearing, he's already lost some weight, and he's going to concentrate on rushing the passer, which is, like Chris said, that's what you need in this NFL. You need to get to the quarterback. You know, but most teams can stop the run. You don't see many NFL teams getting run on like they used to. Teams are able to stop the run. Second round, yeah, you picked Cam Jurgens from Nebraska. That's going to be Jason Kelsey's eventual fill-in. Third round, Jacoby Dean, the third round, 83rd overall. That's your typical teams passed on him because he's hurt type of deal. The Eagles don't think he has the injury, so they said he's going to be ready. He's going to be ready for the season. If that works out, that's a great third round pick. So overall, great job. And of course, you know, like you said, they got A.J. Brown in the draft with a trade from Tennessee. Tennessee did fill his spot right away. They drafted a wide receiver right at that 19th pick, and you know, they saved a lot of money there. They passed on A.J. Brown's salary to the Eagles. Here's a guy that's had two knee surgeries. I mean, he's not a guy that comes here 100%. You know, I mean, he's only 25, but If they have the legs of a 30-year-old, who knows? So that could hurt us in the long run. That's a lot of money spent on a wide receiver.
A good guy who's had a relationship with Jalen Hurts previously as well.
Yeah.
So I know that was a factor in it, and they look at that as being a positive as well, which hopefully it turns out to be one. Just because you have a good relationship with a guy doesn't mean you become successful as teammates. But in this situation, I think given what the Eagles were trying to do, what they're trying to do to make the season more of a success with Jalen Hurts, it was the right move to do. So yeah, when you look at the draft picks, that was definitely something that happened on draft night. So, I mean, obviously not a pick, but a trade. But hey, it's what I think was the right move. Now, health, yeah, always a question.
No, agreed, gentlemen. Agreed, and very, very strong hits there. Once again, guys, if you're listening, even if you're not a Philly fan, you want to check these guys out. You take a look at these strong points. Amazing stuff as always, guys, and very real looks at this. So I'm loving it. So let's take a look at this season moving forward. Now we have the last seasons in the rear view. We talked about free agency, the draft. Let's talk about the schedule this year. So first things first, I believe, looking at the schedule here, courtesy of FBschedules.com, I see here, it looks like the NFC North. I also think it's the AFC South. There's a couple, the other miscellaneous teams here. I see the Saints. Let's see who else is in here that's not part of those divisions. I see Pittsburgh. Yeah, I think there's one more in here somewhere. Maybe not. But regardless, okay, we have a team, we have a schedule here that is, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on how you guys think about it. Overall, I mean, the North, well, I'll let you guys get into that. So, what do you guys think about this season moving forward?
Yeah, if we sat here a year ago, we looked at the schedule and we said potentially 0-4 to start. This year, potentially 4-0 to start. It's totally opposite. You're starting off in Detroit. You're coming home from Minnesota, and you're going to go to Washington, and you're going to come home for Jacksonville. We're going to face our old coach, Doug Peterson. That should be an interesting game. So, I mean, if things go right, I say minimum 3-1 in your first 4 games. So that's definitely a turnaround from last year. It's going to be a key to see Jalen Hurts get out, get confidence, start off good. And you're going to take on the Cardinals on the road, Cowboys at home, Steelers at home. Steelers are also going to be a team going through a transition, no more Roethlisberger. Then they're going to travel to Houston, take on the Texans. That's going to be a 8:15 Monday night game, right? Yeah, Monday night. Mm-hmm. And then they play Washington again. Then they go to Indianapolis. I mean, there's a couple tough road games built in, but overall, it's not a tough schedule at all. And a lot of Philadelphians look at this team as a double-digit win team. I don't want to give away our predictions yet, but it's a real favorable schedule.
Yeah, I can totally see that. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, well, the back end there where they have 3 road games in December, that's not an easy thing to do in the NFL. Starting the season, you do want to get off to a good start, even though last year they did turn it around. The hiccup I see in there is coming home and playing on a Monday night. That could be a difficult game for them against Minnesota. If they win that game, then they got to turn around and go face their old quarterback Carson Wentz down there in Washington. So I could see one of those 2 games being dropped. But then again, the way the season plays out, there's probably a game in there where Bobby and I, if we're sitting right now, and a lot of Eagles fans are sitting right now, we say, oh, they're not going to win that game. Like going to Indianapolis or going to Arizona, they're not going to win there. And they might actually end up winning that game, whereas one of those first 4 games they drop and things even out. Like I said, the tough part is seeing where the Eagles are come December when they got to play those road games.
Yes. And that, to me, is going to be huge. I am right there with you guys. You know what's funny? I'm looking really hard while you guys are going over this. And, yeah, that Monday night game, that could be something. That could be why one of the better Monday night games of the season, actually. But certainly, you guys. I mean, there's so much here that's I feel very favorable, as you mentioned, but there are those tough hits. So overall, and this is a perfect segue, you guys. Overall. Well, I just can't take it away. I'm done. Like, you guys have so many great points. I don't really want to say too much. I mean, the other three teams in the division, well, I think we know, at least for now, who, at least we think, and who is maybe not there just yet, or who's gone backwards and everything. So we'll see. But, gentlemen, you guys know this round this segment too well. Last year we did it. I thought you guys were one of the better segments because it was pretty funny. You said some very true things, even if they were pretty hilarious. So, agreed. And you even hit on your own team a little bit there. So, well, here we go again, you guys. We've hit the end of the segment, but we hit the end of this segment for the Eagles. But to end it off very well, it's time to stick it to them. So, whichever of you want to go first, you have 2 minutes per each of you. Let's go ahead and have some fun. There's 3 other teams in this division. How do you think they're going to do? And, of course, how do you really feel about them? You can be mean and ugly, nice and respectful, a combination of the two. I don't know. So, let's see. Whichever one of you want to start it, stick it to them.
I guess I'll start. The NFC East, if you listen to our show, I talk about the St. Louis Cardinals baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals effect. That's kind of the NFC East. The NFC East is the Eagles, the Cowboys, that's it. So the other two teams are a joke. The Giants and the Commanders are terrible franchises. It's really a good thing because if you're the Eagles or the Cowboys, all you have to worry about is beating the other team, and you're going to be in the playoffs. You're going to win the division. The Giants and Commanders are basically 3 or 4 wins in your schedule, just like the Cardinals play the Pirates and the Reds and the Cubs. So it's kind of our thing lately, talking about that. So that's how I relate it to football and the Eagles going forward. And in my opinion, the Eagles have done enough to put themselves ahead of the Cowboys. The Cowboys are, I think, a team going backwards with Dakota Prescott as their quarterback. You like the Dakota, huh? Yeah. I don't think there's much to worry about. The Giants don't have Daniel Jones. I don't think is going to be their quarterback much longer. Washington has Carson Wentz, who I think he's shown that he's not a winning quarterback in the NFL here and in Indianapolis. I mean, he can still throw the long ball. He's better than what they've had, but over the course of a 17-game schedule, he's going to give you 10 losses. They have no running game. Giants, Saquon Barkley's a guy that's been through injury after injury. Basically, Eagles, Cowboys, and like I said, the Eagles have done enough. The Cowboys are going to come in second. The Eagles are going to win this division.
Hey!
When you look at Mike McCarthy, I mean, is there a bigger fraud in the NFL than Mike McCarthy? I mean, he took a team that was on the doorstep of being a Super Bowl champion, and now all they do is limp around. They get into the playoffs. They get knocked out. This year is probably the year where they don't even make the playoffs. Dak Prescott was signed, tons of money. Have they put the right pieces around him? I don't think so. The Eagles have gone ahead. They put the right pieces around Jalen Hurts. It's possible that he takes that next step and becomes an elite quarterback in the NFL. So, obviously, the Eagles are the cream of the division. When you look at a team that brings in Carson Wentz as your big offseason signing, I mean, my goodness, yeah, that's really something to get excited about. The Giants, I don't need to really say much more about the Giants. So, when I look at it, look, it's Philadelphia all the way, and if Dallas is going to be the team coming up the rear, I don't think that's going to be anything that the Eagles are going to have to worry about. And like I said, just wait. McCarthy's going to blow it. Cowboys always do. And it's about time that they stop being the frauds that they are once they reach the playoffs and they stop making the playoffs. And this is that year. Keep them out of the playoffs. Eagles need to make the playoffs, get themselves in a good position. Possibly winning that division, giving them a home game, means they win a playoff game. And once that happens, who knows what happens from there. Plus a team that's coming together where they got all these different pieces, if they can get themselves where I think they'll be, winning the division, getting a home playoff game, winning that game, going forward, the Eagles have a bright future where the other three teams in the division do not.
Oh my goodness, gentlemen, I'm telling you, last year, last year, you know what's funny? I think I picked of the week. Last year, I think everybody voted. But this year, I mean, really, we have something different going. We're going to actually pick, like, the trash talkers of the week and of the show. And this time, I mean, you know, I want to get those votes in a lot. And of course, we have the new things. We got the IE Sports Radio snippets and everything. So we're going to be cutting these pieces out and putting them out into the Twitter abyss. And yeah, I want people to hear this. If they don't hear the whole show, at least they hear that part. Because man, you guys,
hey, we're not trash talking, Larry. We're telling it like it is.
It's true. You know what? I like it. It's the truth. That's what you guys do. You do it for your own teams. My goodness. I mean, I'm telling you, that Flyers, the world famous Flyers minute. It's just.
That's all they deserve.
You guys, I mean, I think that speaks volumes of the show and who you guys are as diehards. And I'm telling you, I love it. You guys deliver it every single week. What a great job and what a great segment for this show. And that is going to conclude it. So with that said, oh my gosh, where's that applause? But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bobby Cash and Mr. Chris Amos, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for making the time today to be on the show. And well, you guys know the end here. Go ahead, plug, say whatever you got to say, and enjoy the very end of it. So, gentlemen, if you guys,
before we go, I want to put my record on the. You know, it is early. It's only what, July 17th. I still want to put my record out there. I call 12-5 and one playoff win this year for the team.
Hey, I'll take that. That's pretty solid. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'll go with 11-6, and also that the Eagles take that step and they actually win a playoff game this year, and possibly I would say they have a good chance to win 2 playoff games. And the big plugs that I'll put out there is when you think football, you have to think Philadelphia, the Stars, the Eagles, and of course the Union. Football, Philadelphia.
Hey, DOOP. What does that stand for anyway?
Ooh.
It's their goal song. Google Philadelphia Union goal song. You'll know.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad. Now I feel like an idiot, but thank you.
Isn't it the same song the Chicago Blackhawks do in hockey?
I'm not sure if it is, but I know that's what that is, though. Somebody else is using it.
Well, you guys are awesome, man. Appreciate you and your final records. Appreciate.
And of course, Tuesday nights, 8:00. Where else do you need to be except IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports? It's Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris, and you're going to get all the information you need from Philadelphia sports, other sports. Hey, we even talk a little bit of pop culture as well. Can't miss it.
It's the truth, guys. These guys have fun, and they just always bring it. I mean, seriously, this show is awesome, and I'm happy that you guys chose this network because you guys are amazing. And seriously, it's gold every Tuesday. So check them out, you guys. We're glad to have you. I mean, I think you guys just got the plug there. But if there's anything else you guys want to plug, where they can find you, where the diehard Eagles fans and Philly fans can find you, I mean, you guys have the floor. Go right on ahead.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter. We're on Twitter at Philly Talk IE. You can find me on Twitter at BobbyCash215.
Chris Amos 717, and as I always say, come on there, give me your opinion. I'll give you mine. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am. I don't have a problem with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, gentlemen, thanks again for being here. You guys are amazing. Couldn't appreciate you more. And, hey, we look forward to having many more appearances from you guys this year. And I definitely look forward to tuning in to Philly Sports Talk all season long, all year round, as I always do. So, thanks again, you guys. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, y'all. God bless. Have a wonderful week. And can't wait to have you guys back on the show.
Thank you, Larry.
Take care. Larry. Take care, guys.
We'll talk to you.
Talk to you soon. All right, you guys. That was Cash and Chris. Man, they're great, aren't they? I love it. I enjoy having them on every year or this is the second year in a row, I believe, but I enjoy having them on. They are fun. So, with that said, you guys, that is going to do it for the Eagles segment of the show here. When we get back, we are talking Giants. You're listening to Day 2 of 3 and Out, 8 Divisions in 8 Days, NFC East Day. We'll be right back after this.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Harrison Glazer, and we're coming at you from the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. I cover the Jets, the Islanders, the Nets, and the Yankees.
This is Pierre Moss, and I cover the Mets, Knicks, Rangers, and the Giants.
Our show is live every Wednesday through Spreaker and a bunch of other ways to get our content. Again, we're the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. We talk about all those New York sports. It's a lot of fun. We get into all of it. Please tune in. Again, that's Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
And we look forward to having you guys right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we are, back at it with a familiar voice. So glad he can be here on the show, man. Longtime friend of mine through Twitter. Awesome dude all the way from the East Coast. Here to help me out talking Giants football, y'all. We started off with the Commanders with Mike. We went on over to Cash and Chris with the Philadelphia Eagles. And now we're making our way towards, I mean, it's not necessarily New York, you know, it's Jersey, East Rutherford, New Jersey, but, you know, they call themselves New York, so I'll take that. Ladies and gentlemen, we went from HTTC to Fly Eagles Fly, and now here we are to hashtag Together Blue. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, he's all the way from the East Coast. Glad to have him here today to talk some Giants football. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend / hockey, that's right, beer league hockey player, my boy Keith. What's going on, brother? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, Larry. How are we doing tonight, brother?
Hey, I'm doing the best I can, man. I got a little delayed applause button there for you. My apologies. But, dude, glad to have you. Awesome stuff, as always. Talking some great football, and I know today is going to be a lot of the same, man. So let's go ahead and roll through it. We have so much to get through in so little time. But let's start things off with last year, Keith. I'll tell you. Those Giants,
Can we skip this part? Last year was a disaster.
Yeah, it was 4-13, 1-5 in the East. You start off with a 3-game skid. You get an impressive victory over the Giants. That was pretty awesome in overtime. Then you go another 2-game skid. You win one versus the Carolina Panthers, damn near shutting them out. You lose the Chiefs, almost beating them. You beat the Raiders. I mean, that was pretty awesome. You know, not for me, but you know, you guys got the Raiders. You know, beat them. Bye week, then you lost to the Bucks, beat the Eagles. Then you kind of just, after Thanksgiving, said, hey, let's just have an early offseason. Just kidding. Where you guys would drop 6 straight to end off the season. not the easiest, finishing 14-3 in the NFC East. And, well, yeah. So my apologies for being the jerk to want to recap that. But, yeah, man. Definitely not the best season. But, yeah, man. Can you go ahead and just give us you're probably going to want to say, 2 words, which is fine.
I can summarize the season with one statement. Our starting left tackle had more touchdown receptions than our top prized wide receiver and our first round wide receiver combined.
That's horrible.
That was the state of last season's Giants in a nutshell.
That speaks volumes of last year's season.
Yeah.
So.
And then, it was an abject disaster.
Anyway, free agency.
You probably saw the Twitter feeds with Meg.
Yeah.
The hiding eyes emoji got used quite a bit.
Yeah, seriously, man. You guys had a season to forget. Not the easiest to watch every week, I'm sure. There were times where I'm sure you were, watching something much better.
Yeah, it wasn't. There were more than a few Sundays where and I hate saying this, I actually turned the game off at halftime.
I don't blame you. I seriously don't blame you. Once again, longtime Raider fan here who had records like that for almost 2 decades straight. So yeah, it was, it was not the easiest thing to do, but sometimes when Saturday Night Live is on, and it seems like it's going to put you in a better mood than the game. So I'll tell you,
no, it was something else. I'll tell you that.
It seemed like something else. So, well, there goes that. All settled and done. But let's take a look at this offseason, man. The Giants. Free agency, you guys had, I don't know, we'll take a look at it right now. Overall, James Bradbury, head on over to the Eagles. You guys had Logan Ryan. He's bounced around a little bit in the NFL. He's now on his way to the Buccaneers. I know he was once a Patriot with Tom, so I don't know if he was calling him over to play in Tampa. But regardless, you guys have him heading over. Austin Johnson heading over to the Chargers. Evan Ingram is heading to the Jaguars. Jabril Peppers, he, a solid-ish player in the secondary, but he's headed on over now to the Patriots. I gotta give him way more credit. Solid player, but heading over to the Patriots now. Just a lot of different moves. You guys had Will Hernandez, which I don't know how you guys feel about him. I've always thought he was solid, but then again, I've also heard, no, he's not, and now he's on his way to the Cardinals. So, so many moves. Then you guys also had some pretty good acquisitions. You guys would bring in Jahad Ward from the Jaguars, Maurice Kennedy from the Cowboys, Jalen Holmes from the Saints. Just, solid pickups here and there. But go ahead and give it to us, Keith, in a nutshell, man. What do you, or not even in, I don't know. You summed up the season pretty well, so maybe you could do that with the offseason too. But free agency, that is. What did you think? Big pickups, big departures. What were your highlights of this entire free agency?
The unfortunate thing was we had to lose James Bradbury. He was our top corner. It was a financial decision. They just couldn't carry his cap hit. The business side of football came out at that point. We would love to have him. Still love if he was still here, but it is what it is. And now he's unfortunately to that team in Philadelphia. But Evan Ingram, I think that he just kind of. I hope he benefits from a change of scenery. He seems like a good kid, and hopefully, that'll turn around for him. We didn't really do much to upgrade the tight end position, but Ricky Seals-Jones. I don't think anybody was knocking down his door to sign him.
Yeah.
they did some stuff to kind of bring in some veterans to solidify to help stabilize the offensive line, and that's kind of been the hugest black eye weak spot for us. That seems to have gotten a bit of an upgrade, so hopefully that translates into good things. But it was an off season that's kind of geared more towards a little bit more of a rebuild, I think, than anything else than the previous regime was ready to admit.
I can definitely see that, without a doubt. We take a look right now at this current roster, currently, courtesy of OurLads.com. I mean, you guys have, Kenny Galladay is still there. Sterling Shepard is still there. The offensive line looks, they're pretty okay. John Feliciano, former Raider, he's there hanging out. But really, I don't know. Daniel Jones, I remember following him quite a lot a couple years ago in the Pro Bowl. I don't know. I thought he may amount to a little bit more. I love the fact that he had 2 master's degrees. I was like, oh, this is a smart guy. This is pretty cool. Maybe taking a page out of Belichick's book, signing smart players. I don't know. I still don't know if that's 100% true, but it seems like it would be. He's still around. Saquon Barkley, which kind of seems to be the whole offense sometimes. Matt Breida's still there, which is, pretty solid there. Then you go to the defense side of the ball. Leonard Williams, a man who spent a lot of time in MetLife as a Jet and now a Giant, former USC player. So, definitely I'm glad he's still there doing his thing. Former Raider Justin Ellis is there. They call him Jelly. Still there playing in the middle of the line. So, Dexter Lawrence as well, Aziz Ajulere, I don't know butcher his name, but of course, solid defensive line in my opinion. Blake Martinez is still there. Remember seeing him do great things in Green Bay. So, Kevon Thibodeau, you guys, well, of course, we'll get to the draft coming up right now, but overall, I don't know. Adoree Jackson, another SC guy. I feel like there's pieces there, but I don't know. What do you feel right now about this current roster?
There's pieces. It's going to be a make or break year for Jones for sure. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option for a reason. He either takes a big jump forward with Dable and Kafka coaching him up, or we move on. The writing's right there. It's like, you got to do it, kid, or that's it. I like him. I've tried to be a Jones apologist, but there's so many things that, staring down receivers, fumbling, which comes up every time anyone brings up Daniel Jones, fumbling. Interceptions have gotten better, but, he was hamstrung with a bad offensive line, hamstrung with the not-so-great offensive coordinator the last couple of years. And those sound like excuses, and, yeah, they kind of are, but, we definitely need him to step up. If he has a good year, then I can see good things happening for the Giants. Saquon, everything you read about Saquon and everything you hear about him going into this offseason is he feels like he's better, he's ready to go, and that he's, leaner, and hopefully that translates into more speed, but he's got to stay healthy. Shepard's out for a little bit, returning from Achilles injury, and there's a lot offensively that, could go right if everyone stays healthy and stays on point. But, injuries, everybody gets injuries in football, but, it can derail the whole offensive season. Defensively, the construct of the front 7, I'm okay with. You got Aziz, he put up, did he get almost 10 sacks last year? I can't remember how he got as a rookie. And he's coming back, and he seems to be in better shape. And from what I'm hearing and reading, that he's in better shape, bulked up a little bit more. Between Dexter, Leonard, and whoever else they can rotate along the front 3, we run a 3-4, and Blake Martinez in the middle, and the front 7 should be okay. The back end, is going to be a little challenging. The secondary with, our top corner is, blanking on his name, Adoree Jackson. But the kid I'm most excited about defensively is Xavier McKinney. If you remember a couple of years ago when we were talking about this, I said, that was the kid from the draft I was most excited about.
Yes.
Was getting Xavier McKinney. He was graded out as like a top 25 player, and the Giants got him in the second round. So, and he showed out last year. So it's like, okay, well, you do that again this year, we're talking, the strength. But losing Pepper, not really having somebody who's a solid part in the second safety positions could be a challenge. And I think the secondary is going to be, the biggest hurdle on the defense this year.
I could see that, certainly. I mean, overall, it was, last year was a blip. I mean, it's not nothing to want to even check back on. But certainly
Nope.
Lots of things to build off of, and certainly, exposed for sure, which you needed. And, well, we talked free agency, and now it's time to get into the draft. And let's see if you think that the Giants selected who you thought were the actual needs. So, taking a look here, they had in the very first round, I think probably one of the best picks of the draft, Evan Neal, absolute monster. I know Mike Pat would rag on me right now and tell me, you didn't even have him in your first round. I kind of messed up. I forgot about him. I don't know how I did. But absolute beast. He is every bit as advertised, I feel, out of Alabama. And he's certainly a need on that offensive line. You guys pick him up overall with the 7th overall pick. Second round, Dale Robinson, wide receiver out of Kentucky. I mean, once again, see what he's got. Joshua Izudu, I don't want to butcher his name there, even though I just did. Guard out of North Carolina. Once again, more beef. Cordell Flott out of LSU. I mean, overall, just a solid player. I mean, just a solid athlete here. And realistically, you guys got, I think, some good pickups. Cordell Flott, let me see here. Like I said, you guys also had the tight end out of San Diego State, Daniel Bellinger. I'm a big fan of this guy. I'm a big San Diego State guy as well. So overall, lots of good pickups here. I mean, I can go over all of them, but I'd rather have you do that, man. So, so go on ahead. What did you think about the draft this year?
When Kayvon Thibodeau was on the board, when they picked, I watched the draft with a couple of buddies every year. When he was on the board, I sat up in my chair, leaned forward, and I was like, please don't screw this up. Please don't screw this up. Please don't screw this up.
Seriously.
And when they announced it was Kayvon Thibodeau, I was just like, yes. And I was so excited because it's like, I know he's there, but no one's taken the tackle yet. So we've got the 2 top tackles on the board. We're going to get one of them. So, and we got the Mauler from Alabama. I mean, the dude he's a monster. So it seemed like a layup to take those 2 in the first round. It really was. I mean, they were right there for us. And getting both of those should they're going to start day one. And if they don't, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
The Wan'Dale Robinson, I was like, when I saw his name come up, I was like, okay. But the more I looked into, the more I read, the more I saw about him. I was like, oh, this could be something with him. Like gadgetry, we're talking, jet sweep, slot, quickness out of the slot. He can just do a little whip route on the outside. Boom, he can snag it up the field, screens. I mean, there's a lot of things he can do that even at 5'8", he's not that big, but that could be a benefit. His quickness is a benefit. And then the last one I'll touch on is Bellinger, the tight end. I was just like, who the heck is this kid? And then you hear, okay, well, he may not be day one starter material, but he could materialize into something. So overall, I think it was especially the first 2-3 picks were pretty good. And the rest we'll just see how it all pans out. But I wasn't displeased with it, that's for sure.
And that's a great thing. And my apologies, I don't know how the heck I skipped over Thibodeau. I mean, that's right, we got picked up. I mentioned him a little bit ago. But absolute beast. And you guys, I think, had a pretty solid draft, man. So, I mean, I like it. I like what you guys have done. And really, it's just kind of, where do you guys go now? So, taking a look at this schedule this year, I mean, hey, we all know the NFC East is certainly not an easy, division to play in. And you guys, I think, let's see, who do you guys have this year? I know, well, of course, like I said, the good old NFC East there. But who do you guys have? Let's take a look. So I see, Titans, Jacksonville. So it looks like the AFC South is in there. And it looks like I see the North. Chicago, Green Bay, are the Vikings in there? They certainly are. So it looks like the AFC South and the NFC North, the outlier opponents that are not in either division. We have the Baltimore Ravens out of the AFC North and the Seattle Seahawks out of the NFC West. So what do you think, man? How about this schedule? How do you feel this team can really do I know you're always very honest about, in this part, you're never going too crazy here, but as soon as that time, there could be a really good valid point to get a little optimistic, if you will, with the players you guys have signed. I mean, how do you feel you guys match up against all these teams this year, and what do you see you guys doing?
Oh boy. Honestly, I feel like I think the Cowboys and the Eagles are gonna be a challenge this year. They've definitely, especially Eagles, have improved. Their biggest question mark is Jalen Hurts. Other than that, they've got some great pieces around him. The Eagles are gonna be a nuisance. The Cowboys are still good, annoyingly so. The Commanders, I think we should be able to beat them. So are the other teams. I'm not as concerned about the Seahawks now that Russell Wilson's not there. Ravens, I mean, Lamar's Lamar. He's going to give you fits no matter when you play him, unless he's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I've looked over the schedule and I think to myself, what could we do? If we do 7-10 this year, I'll consider it, and I hate saying that, I'll consider it a good season compared to what we've been through. So I see us maybe finishing at best, and that's if everything goes right and completely right. But I think we'll end up finishing third in the division. I don't like saying it, but that's the reality of the situation.
Well, you know what? It's all good. Third, huh? So who you got underneath you guys?
What's that?
I said third place, huh? So who do you see underneath you guys?
Commanders.
Great. Well, you can talk about those Commanders on the other two teams coming up right now because I love it. I love it, and I'm telling you, man, it's football. We don't know one season from the next, so we have now reached the good old stick it to 'em segment. You know this segment all too well because you've been on this show a few times already, I believe. Second or third time. I might have been. I don't know about around there, Keith. But this is the part of the interview here. We're pretty much at the end, and you get to stick it to the other three teams. Let us know, of course, how you feel about those other three teams. I mean, the main purpose of it is, of course, to talk about how you think they're going to do this season. But, it's also fun to let out how you really feel about them every time. Oh, yeah. So, with that said, Keith, there's three other teams in this division. How do you think they're going to do this year? Stick it to them.
We'll start with Washington, since it seems to be a good way to lead off here. The Commanders, I mean, they spent how many years trying to figure out what to rename their team to, and that's what they came up with. So, congratulations, ? I mean, they've got some good pieces. They're still got a very scary defense. They brought in this quarterback that washed out from a guy who made him into what he was. So I'm not too worried about Carson Wentz. He can come back to the East all he wants. And congratulations, buddy. Guess what? You flamed out already. So I'm not too concerned about Washington. I mean, they're going to give us fits because they always seem to, no matter how good we are and how bad they are. It is what it is. I feel like we can take both games from them. Dallas, I just don't like Dallas. I'm just going to say, I just don't like Dallas. Their superstar, super paid running back got beat out by, his backup. So you got that going for him. That's great. Dak, I think Dak is overpaid for how good he actually is, and I think we're going to see that start coming to fruition soon. Now that he doesn't have Amari Cooper to throw to. And Micah Parsons is the only one that scares me on their defense. Yes, I know they've got, Deion 2.0 or so whatever Diggs calls himself. He's not Deion 2.0. There is no one is Deion Sanders. So let's just get that out of the way. Dallas, they're good, but I still don't. No. The Eagles are literally dependent upon Jalen Hurts. If he's good enough, they'll win the division. If he's Jalen Hurts, then we may have a shot at taking second in the division behind the Cowboys. If the Cowboys don't, flame out. So. Yeah, the Eagles have a lot of stockpiled talent, but much like ourselves, their quarterback is a big question. So, but if I had to choose between Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones, I'm taking Daniel Jones, and that's not even a biased opinion.
Check you out, man. Great stuff as always. And I'll tell you right now, brother, ain't nothing wrong with that. You definitely gave your thoughts and opinions. I love it. You've had a great segment. Wonderful job on sticking to them, man. Niggas got to say thanks again for being here on this show, man. This has been a great interview. As always, man, got to plug at the end, man. So where can all these diehard Giants fans find you?
I'm on the Twitter machine. I changed my handle recently, so it's now at Keith KEITH _GINGUE. That's where you can find me. I'm also on Instagram with the same handle.
Hey, great dude, Ben. I'm telling you, always an honor talking to you and having you on the show. We certainly appreciate you, and it is, like I said, man, it's always a pleasure talking to you and catching up and just talking some football, brother. So, hey, all the best to your Giants this year, man. Take care. It has been great, and we'll talk soon, man. God bless you and your family. Have a wonderful rest of your week, a wonderful evening, and we'll talk soon, brother. Thanks again.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Always good to catch up.
Hey, same here, man. We'll talk soon, and you have a great evening, brother.
You too. God bless you.
Take care. God bless, brother. Take care. All righty, y'all. That was Keith, man. Great dude as always. He's the man. Talk about them Giants, and well, glad to have him here tonight. Well, with that said, or today, this interview was recorded last night on Monday night. But great dude, and glad to have him here, ladies and gentlemen. So we just finished up we started off with the Commanders. We went on over to Philly, headed over to New York. And now it's time for them Cowboys, yo. So, coming up after the break, Dallas Cowboys. You're listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, day number 2. NFC week, day number 2 as well. Right here on 3 and Out on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back talking Cowboys after this.
Lay down music.
Hey, what's up, BS3 sports fans? If you love listening to the BS3 Sports Show, check out the weekend wrap-up every Monday at 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern, recapping the weekend in sports like you never heard it before. Comedy, interactive chat room, it's a must listen. Weekend wrap-up on Spreaker.com, part of the X Squad. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Were you listening to a great game on USRN, but then the Wi-Fi crashed in the final seconds? Or do you simply want to listen to the best calls we here at USRN have to offer? Well then, you need to go check out our Audio Boom page. It holds a collection of our best calls that you don't want to miss. How do I get there, you ask? You can download the Audio Boom app and look up Ultimate Sports Radio, or simply go to audiobook.com/Ultimate Sports Radio. And as always, thanks for listening and making USRN one of the most talked about sports networks on Mixler.com.
Are you a fan of the best teams in the Buckeye State? Then this is a show for you. This is the State of Ohio Sports, where I, your host, Andrew Higginbotham, will bring you all the professional news as well as all things college from Northeast Ohio and Cleveland all the way down to Southwest Ohio and Cincinnati, and even in the heart of the state in the state capital of Columbus. So if this sounds like the show for you, check out the State of Ohio Sports show every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, as we mentioned in the introduction, we got another special treat for y'all today because he is IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer. That's right, y'all. He was in that second class. So glad to have him here today. It's been a while. This man is out there grinding, making things happen in this world. Glad to have him here. Glad to have him during his busy schedule. So we're definitely not going to waste too much time. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer and just damn good guy all around. And of course, diehard Cowboys fan. Ladies and gentlemen, Aston, what's going on, brother? How you been, man?
Hey, good morning, Larry B. Thanks for bringing me back here at IE Sports Radio. I am a Hall of Fame member and always ready to rep my Cowboys.
Hey, brother. We are happy to have you back, man. It's exactly like you said. Always ready to rep them Cowboys, man. You're about as diehard as it gets, and I don't know, man. I'm just glad you're here today to talk about that team that you love oh so much, man. So first things first, Dallas last year, man. You know, the Cowboys had a season last year, like straight up, man. Courtesy here of, let's see here, where I just lost it right now. But the Cowboys last year, man, it was overall, you know what, something that we can all, at least Cowboy fans can smile at. I mean, not the best overall when it came to the playoffs, but man, I mean, y'all finished the regular season at, 12-5 last year, winning another NFC East title. You guys would start off with, a little tough with that loss to Tampa Bay, but then you guys will go on a 6-game win streak. You lost one, you won one, you won a 2-game skid, and then you won 4 in a row, lost another, had another win to finish off the year. And then y'all blew out. Y'all had a couple of big games last year, man, completely blowing out the Washington football team at the time, the now Commanders, and the Eagles in the last 3 games of the season. And then the Niners, well, you guys would, I believe you guys would head on over there, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, they would come to town, and it was a very tough defensive game. You would follow the Niners. Overall, man, give us every raw emotion from last season.
You know, if I can be real with you, as part of, Cowboy Nation, Larry B., it was exciting throughout the regular season. When we get to the playoffs, it's another one and done season. It was very tough. I was proud of my squad for fighting in the playoffs against the 49ers at home. We just came up short. As every fan out there in this world who loves their teams, you just go through the emotions of the game, man. If you're diehard like me, you just go through the emotions. You go with the ups, the downs, the good times, the bad times, and at the end of the day, you just got to be loyal, man. You got to remain true, and here I am again, ready for another season, ready to go try and get number 6 since '95.
It seems like it's been quite the time, hasn't it? It's taken a while, but you know what? The heart of this Dallas fan base is insane. I mean, you guys flood arenas. You guys are there for this team, and it's just, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, it's special. Because even my close friends who are Cowboy fans, man, it's like I feel the same thing when you talk about them. Like, that passion, that heart, that desire, it's there, man. So I feel like it's just, the team can contribute a lot to the fan base, especially on that field, because I know how it feels when you got people cheering you on, man. When you got that many people cheering you on, all these diehard Cowboy fans out there, it's just hard to not give your all and play, So I know these Cowboys are pushed by the fan base for sure, man. So with that said, I feel you, though. It's definitely not the easiest thing in the world when you are one and done. That hurts, especially so damn close. It was a 6-point game and a very defensive game. My goodness, it was a good one. Because it didn't end up in your guys' favor. A couple more plays, you guys could have won that game. I mean, it was different, If a couple plays would have been different, but I guess we could say that for a lot of teams. But with that said, man, let's go ahead and get on to this offseason real quick. Free agency. So we'll get to the free agency, then we'll roll into the draft. But as of right now, man, you guys had some, I guess we could say some big departures, but then again, some pretty good acquisitions. Amari Cooper, one of the departures, heading on over to the Browns. La'el Collins now heading to the Bengals. We have here Ken O'Neal going to the Bucks. I mean, once again, just some big departures here. Randy Gregory headed over to the Broncos. That was something. So I don't know. I mean, those some departures. Then you have the pickups here. And I thought the Cowboys, they were all right. I mean, we have here, let's see here. No, they didn't actually. I didn't see the Cowboys. They just re-signed, really. I didn't see any big signings unless I'm just tripping. James Washington from the Steelers, I know he came on over. And Ryan Nall, running back out from the Bears, as well as, let's see here, the kicker, Liram, I don't want to butcher his last name for the Panthers, but you get the idea. So with that said, brother, what do you think, man? What was your key departures and acquisitions from free agency? What did you think about free agency altogether?
My key departure in free agency has got to be on the defensive side of the ball, and that'd be with Randy Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, the sack numbers don't really show well for the guy, but you got to look at the pressures and what he did. Throughout the season, he gets pressures, he causes havoc. He can get in the backfield, has great bend, and also, man, you got to go with that humble kid who I told everybody in Dallas Cowboy Nation, man. I told him, I don't feel like this team would be better without Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, I'm super ready to see CD take the reins and become the clear-cut number 1 receiver. Does the kid have the talent to do it? Absolutely. Look at the numbers that he put up last year. And throughout the season, other than Schultz, you could see how we kind of went away from Cooper and CD became a security blanket. Now, with that being said, man, this defensive unit, I'm excited. We brought back a lot of guys minus Randy Gregory, and I feel like they're going to pick up where they left off.
I can totally see that, man. We take a look at this. I mean, and really, CD Lamb is solid. You have him. You guys have Zeke is still there. He's still the backbone of that entire offense, it seems. Dak is still slinging the ball around, man. So, but then you look at this offensive line, my goodness, man. Tyron Smith is still there. You just added another Smith, Tyler Smith, who was an absolute badass. You guys have Zach Martin is still there. So I'm just saying, man, like, this offensive line is very tough. The defensive line is still pretty strong. Van Der Esch is still making things happen on the defense as well as Micah Parsons. So it's true, man. Trayvon Diggs. You guys have a solid, also Malik Hooker and Jordan Lewis. I mean, overall, you guys have a solid core to build off from last year. But I got to ask you this real quick, Ashton. There was a kid that I saw a couple years ago in the Senior Bowl, in Senior Bowl practice. I didn't even know who he was, really. All I know is him next to Deebo Samuel looked very good, and I wanted the Raiders to pick up one of them. We didn't, but you guys did. And one of them was Deebo Samuel, and the other one was Michael Gallup. Now, Ashton, what do you think about Michael Gallup, man? I mean, CD, of course, is going to step into that main role, if you will, that for wide receiver one. But what do you personally feel about Michael Gallup? Do you feel that he's really somebody who's, he's there in the big moments? Do you feel that he's not? I mean, do you feel he's another receiver? What do you really feel about him?
I love the game that Michael Gallup brings. My concern is how well he's going to come up off that knee injury. Mm-hmm. That's my main concern. I did hear a couple nights ago that he went to rehab before the surgery to regain a little bit of strength in one of the CLs. And so he had surgery. From what I hear, man, he's coming back. He looks good in his rehab on the sidelines and doing the things that he needs to do. But as far as Gallup, I feel like Gallup's going to stay steady like he has throughout his career. He's going to be a guy that we can look to as a number 2 receiver. But, with that being said, man, he's got to come back healthy. And so I like the guy. I like the guy a lot.
I'm with you. I think he's a baller, but I did not know he had an injury. Hopefully, thoughts and prayers with him. Hopefully, get back to his full self. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Some people probably have mixed emotions. Like, nah, he ain't all that. We got CD now and everything, but it takes a core. It really does. And I think he's definitely one of those guys, that Dak could find out there that can make some things happen. We've seen it. So, but yeah, man. So with that said, let's move into the draft real quick. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Tyler Smith, first pick for you guys, 24th off the board. I mean, my goodness, this guy he's as advertised, all right? The young man out of Tulsa, not too far from you there, Ashton. I mean, this guy's a beast. He looks like he's ready to roll, man. I really think he can make some things happen in the league for you guys. Sam Wilson, another good pickup out of Ole Miss, defensive end. You guys, Randy Gregory's gone, but hey, we'll see what Sam can do for you guys in the second round. Pretty solid pick. Jalen Tolbert, a wide receiver out of South Alabama. Get some pretty solid players. Jake Ferguson, tight end out of Wisconsin. And then you guys you guys have, I think you guys had all your draft picks, if I'm not mistaken, but you guys get into the later rounds. But I'm not going to, go too far into that. But Ashton, what did you personally think about this draft this year?
We fit the needs that we needed. That's what we did in the draft this year. We fit the needs that we needed. I'm very excited, man. My pet cat in this year's draft would be Jalen Tolbert. Kid is explosive. He's able to line up in all 3 spots at the wide receiver core positions, and I believe that come mid-season, man, he's going to be a nice weapon for us. Tyler Smith, kid's got phenomenal strength. I love the fact that he soaks in everything from like the guys at Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. He's continuously trying to get better, trying to learn. And, Sam Williams, that guy, I wouldn't say that his shoes are real big to fill with Randy Gregory lost. It's kind of funny, man, if you look at the comparison just in numbers, look at Chad Hutchinson, who went number 2, and then look at Sam Williams, who went to us. It's kind of crazy how those numbers kind of match up and look identical. Just something for you football fans, who's interested in, the Hutchinsons and the Sam Williams and stuff like that. Get out there and dig into it, man. It's kind of crazy what you see, Larry B. You might want to check that out yourself, too. But we drafted needs. And I believe that these kids, they're going to have, shoes to fill, man. A lot of these guys are going to step in as starters or big rotational pieces for us. And I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go.
No, I'm with you. I think so too. I think you guys have, some roles that were shifted around. As you know, I guess we said Randy Gregory's on his way out. Regardless, though, hey, here comes this young man, Sam Williams. Here, we mentioned, Amari Cooper's on his way out. Well, CD's there now. Tolbert's coming on in. We have Gallup. So I mean, it's true. I think you guys got exactly what you needed. So really excited for this team this year. And speaking of this year, let's go ahead and just jump into it, man. Looking at the schedule, courtesy of ESPN.com, we have here. It looks like this year you guys are playing, of course, you got the usual NFC East schedule. Then you guys have, I think it's the NFC, if I'm not mistaken, I see the AFC South in there. Colts, Texans, Jaguars, Titans are in there somewhere, yep. And then, so the AFC South and the NFC North is what it looks like. Yeah, Packers, Vikings, Commanders, and Eagles. Well, yeah, okay, there we go. Nope. Packers. Yeah, so you guys got the NFC North as well, man, up in there. And looks like the outlier teams are the Bengals from the AFC North. And let's take a look who else it is. There we go. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the NFC South. So that's who you're taking on this year, man. You guys got the NFC North. You guys got the AFC South, and then the Buccaneers and the Bengals, along with the NFC East. How are you feeling about this year personally? I mean, I know earlier you said, of course, and it is the truth, man. It's the God's honest truth. It's always a different season when the playoffs start. But when you look at this regular season, man, what are you really feeling, and what do you think this can translate into the postseason for you guys?
Well, I can't go with a prediction if I'm honest with you right now at this point in time, man. We got to get into camp and see what we have going on. I love the first 2 games, first 2 weeks, man. It's going to be a tough test. Great opportunity to come out and set the tone and let people know that my Cowboys are for real. Mm-hmm. But as a Cowboy fan, living with disappointment, hanging our heads since '95, I got to go in there realistically, man. I just got to watch my team week by week, see where we get better, see what struggles we're going through. And, week to week, love them for who they are, love them for my team, and rep them each week in and out.
And that's what I'm talking about, brother. That's why I'm so glad you were here today, because you've always been that real, once again, man, the Cowboys, let's just be real. The Cowboys are I can say it's more likely than not that you guys are going to win the division again. It may be a little thinner this year. It may not be. I don't know. But last year, you guys won by, 3 games? I believe a 3-game gap. I mean, you guys looked good. And then, of course, as you said, the playoffs different story. I know disappointment. I mean, Raider fan over here, so I feel you. You guys definitely have a solid team. It's there. I believe you guys are deep playoff caliber, possibly Super Bowl caliber. But once again, like you said, we got to wait till the guys get on the field and do their thing. So we shall see. But I love it, man. Realistic approach right there, and just very humble instead of sitting here saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna dominate." Nah, man, you're more of the let's wait and see. But I'm here to cheer them on no matter what, win, lose, or tie. So that's what I'm about, man. And I love that. So with that said, brother, let's have a little fun to end this off. Got a few more minutes left in this thing. Let's do this, man. Everyone's favorite segment, stick it to them. This is the chance where you get to stick it to the rest of the NFC East. You just talked about the Cowboys this year with a very realistic look. Now, there's 3 other teams in this division that you love to not like, and they love to not like you right back. You are the final team to go here today. We already talked to Mike and the Commanders. We already talked to Cash and Chris about the Eagles, and we just talked to Mr. Keith about his Giants. Now, of course, they had their things to say about the Cowboys, so, I think it's time you give a little something back from the Cowboys over here, man, from your perspective. So, with that said, how are these teams doing this season? And tell us how you really feel. You could be kind, you could be you can be kind and respectful. You can be mean and ugly, or you can have a combination of both. Once again, tell us how you really feel. Ashton, stick it to him.
Hey, I'm just going to start it off with what it is. Die, Eagles, die, baby. Everything looks good on paper. We can turn it back the clock and go to another sport. My Lakers look great on paper, and you see what happened.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. Every NFC East game is tough. They come in there, we hit hard, we play. We know what the ultimate goal is, and that's to win the East. I'm ready to go back-to-back NFC East champion. And then, like I said, go get 6. I don't respect any team in my division. I'm very biased. It's Dallas Cowboys till I die, and I'm ready for you guys. Bring it on. Each and every week that you want some noise, it's that looking crazy on Twitter.
Man, short, sweet, and how about that, man? Short, sweet, bringing the fire, and even giving even say y'all know where to find me right here. Giving this plug at the end and everything. Well, you just got your plug. There it is, brother. That's where you can find them, y'all. And just definitely appreciate you for stopping by today, man. Like I said, I know you're a busy man. You're heading out right now. You're looking to just do your regular thing, man. And we appreciate you so much between your busy work schedules, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I said 20 minutes, and we're creeping up on 20 minutes right now. So, Ashton, once again, brother, thanks again for stopping by, man. Thank you and appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the season. Have a great week. I look forward to having you back on the show this season, man. Take care and God bless, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Larry B., thank you for the opportunity, and God bless you and your family. IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer. I love what you guys do. Much love.
Hey, much love, brother, and we appreciate you.
Oh, and as always, go Cowboys.
That's what I'm talking about, man. All right, brother. Hey, well, you have a great day, man. We'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
Yes, sir. Have a blessed day.
Thanks, sir. Take care. Man, Ashton, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashton's the man. Glad to have him on here. He is the man. He is the man. That was awesome. Once again, realistic look, but always ready, man. He wants to smoke, if you know how some people say nowadays. So, with that said, y'all, Ashton, great dude, and that will end off the Cowboys. So, with that said, that does it for the NFC West. NFC West. Well, that was yesterday. The NFC East. We are now, look at that, y'all. We're halfway through the NFC now. Hey, 8 teams down, 8 more to go. And, well, when we get back from this break, you will hear me give my final weigh-in on the NFC East for this season. It's going to be a fun one. This one, well, you'll see what I have to say in a few minutes. With that said, y'all, 3 and out. 8 divisions in 8 days, NFC East Day reaching its conclusion. Tune in for my final weigh-in coming up right after this.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's up, sports fans? Are you looking for the latest on Northern California sports? Then take a trip out west with me, your host, Gina G, on Reppin' to NorCal Sports, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll be bringing it to you all the way live every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And it's always a packed show. I'll bring you everything Dynastic 49ers, the bite of the San Jose Sharks, torture of the San Francisco Giants, the Golden State Warriors that we still believe. Then take you across the bay to the rise and grind of the Oakland A's. I've got you covered on college ball from the Cal Bears to the Stanford Cardinal, so that no matter what, reppin' in NorCal sports is always reppin' the Bay. So if you bleed red and gold, or you're looking to keep an eye out west in them thar hills, don't miss me, Gina G, on reppin' in NorCal sports. Catch me every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll have your fandom repped harder than a trio of defenders guarding Stephen Curry before his buzzer beater is Gucci.
up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Lopan, they didn't even want you. Heck, they didn't even want me. But you know what? Right about now, they have no choice. Looking for the real sports talk? Talk that's for us, the people? Look no further. The Wait a Minute Show, a prime time sports comedy cocktail that tucks you in at night. Join me and Lopan Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 2livestewsradio.com and Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the waitaminuteShow.com. Sounds like a plan to me. Ain't that right, Lopan? Indeed.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What a show, right? I mean, seriously, what a show. Thank you to all four of our guests for today. Awesome stuff. Mr. Mike Pat, Cash and Chris, Mr. Keith, and Mr. Ashton. By the way, that show that you just heard right now, Cecilia and I are getting it back together. I mean, we're doing our best right now. Busy lives, y'all. Busy. I can't believe I have the time to do this right now. It's awesome. Speaking of that, though, I actually did get called into work for tomorrow and, well, for the rest of the week. Therefore, the tomorrow schedule will be a little bit different. I know we're used to going live at 10 a.m., Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, I'll be getting out of work around 1 p.m. Pacific. So tomorrow's show will run, I guess have it here. So it will run tomorrow from 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, all the way to 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is going to go right into the show that never sleeps. So my apologies, but I gotta make that money, right? So tomorrow, we continue with the NFC South, so a little scheduling change there. On Thursday, it'll be the same exact thing. I'll be going from 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, to 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, running right into the extra mile. So that'll be the next 2 days, but gotta hustle, gotta get that money, right? So much appreciated, and thank all of you for tuning in and for making this show what it is. It is so cool getting all of the awesome comments and great positive feedback. You guys are awesome, and thanks again for that. So, once again, me, your boy Larry B here, getting ready to give you my final weigh-in. Once again, we had 4 great interviews. Appreciate every one of them. I didn't have a Cowboy for a while, man, and Ashton was like clutch. He was Ezekiel Elliott, man. He was clutch right when I needed it, right at the end of the game. And this morning, we had our interview when you guys heard, and I'm really glad he was able to make that happen, man. So big ups to Ashton once again. So with that said, you guys, here we go. My final weigh-in of the NFC East this season. So, first things first, it's going to be a lot of the same. I hate to not move anybody up. I know yesterday I think I did the same thing where it was pretty much the same as last year. It's hard season to season unless there are some drastic changes or the division was really that close. Last year, I just kind of felt like, or last year for the NFC West, it was close. But then again, I don't know. It was close, but I felt that it was just, I don't know. I feel like this year we had the offseason, I think everyone kind of got what they needed in the offseason for the NFC West. Therefore, that's what kind of made that happen, where I was like, yeah, that kind of deal. So I thought it'd be a lot of the same. Now, this year with the final weigh-in for the Cowboys, I feel like there's too big of a gap with certain teams. Okay? Yeah, and Marcus says it was close until it wasn't exactly. I mean, come on, man. The NFC West is crazy. You have 3 teams. I know I said this a ton of times yesterday, but come on, man. You got 3 teams in double digits making the playoffs, and 2 of those teams being in the NFC Championship game. I mean, I'm just saying, y'all, it's it's a lot, right? It's crazy to think. So, even the Seahawks, they weren't even that great, and they were still, better than a lot of other teams out there. So, I don't know, but that's what I feel like with this year. Okay, that the NFC East, in my opinion, is going to be a lot of the same, and I'll tell you why. So here we go. Let's go ahead and jump on into what I got to say about this. Sorry, I'm over here tweeting and putting all kinds of stuff around and trying to manage all kinds of crap. put my link in the chat room for the team, for the iSports Radio team, all that good stuff. So my apologies, you guys. So, all right, let's go ahead and do this. The Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys. They have a strong, in my opinion, a pretty strong defense that can help carry them. The offense, it is what it is. Dak some people can't stand him. And I know Cowboy fans that aren't even too happy with him. Other people think he's the greatest quarterback in football. I respect both arguments. Zeke is certainly, if not the best, one of the absolute best running backs in the league right now. I mean, that guy's pound for pound, just one of the best players in the league. So the offensive line is strong. I mean, you have Tyron Smith. They just added Tyler Smith, Zach Martin is still there. This is a strong team. CeeDee Lamb now, Gallup. They just added another receiver in the draft. This is a strong team that I feel it's their division to lose. If they lose this division, if they lose this season, it's because the Cowboys didn't play as they should have. I mean, last year, I was hyped up, man, when my Raiders defeated the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. That was such a great day and such a great game. And, it just felt good because I know we beat a good team. At the end of the day, the Cowboys were still a monstrous team. They just had a few blips, and once again, they ran into, I'm going to steal this one from Taryn, but they ran into the buzzsaw that was the Niners last year. Even though it was a low-scoring affair in the wild card round, the Niners were just a better team. Now, overall, the Cowboys had what it takes, I think, to reach, the next round. I don't know about beyond that, but I do feel that they were a pretty good team. Right now, I have the Niners winning the NFC West. sorry, the NFC East, at 13-4 or 12-5. I don't really see them going beneath 12 games. I don't. Yeah, Marcus in the chat room, Buzzsaw has a nice ring to it. Yeah, the Niners, and they look like another Buzzsaw again this year. Once again, if you guys didn't catch yesterday's show, check it out on iSportsRadio.com and, of course, on demand here on Spreaker.com. And we have our podcast pretty much go everywhere, all over different platforms. But I'll tell you right now, this team, this Dallas Cowboy team, they look good. They look good. We'll see what they can do. If they go above 13 wins, good for them. But I really don't see them going beneath 12 wins. If they go beneath 12 wins, they're not winning. In my opinion, if they fall under 12 wins, they're in serious jeopardy of not winning the division. Because I'll tell you right now, my second place team, the Eagles, they're right there. I have the Eagles going at best 11-6. And at worst, 9-8. Now, last year, I know they're somewhere up there. Overall, the Eagles can't necessarily. The Eagles are going to be that dark horse if the Cowboys slip a little bit. And maybe not too much of a dark horse. I would consider the Commanders a little bit more of a dark horse, especially the Giants. But. And that's if they were, an early sleeper, like, wait a minute, what is this? The eyes emoji looking to the right or whatever that is, But as of right now, the Eagles certainly have their work cut out for them. The Eagles have a strong core. You saw Kale in the chat room earlier, for those of you who were in the chat room, talking about how good their offensive line was. And, it is. I got to looking at it. Offensive line for the Eagles, they have a lot of pieces. We talked about that with Cash and Chris, about the, the offensive line. Well, actually, yeah. We talked about that with Kelsey, Jason Kelsey there, and Lane Johnson still there. So, realistically, they have good pieces. Jalen Hurts, let's see what he can do this year. They have some solid wide receivers. That defense is not too bad. Fletcher Cox is still the man. They got, they have some solid players. Now, is it good enough to win the West? Once again, if the Cowboys played how they did last year, then no. It's going to look a lot of the same. I kind of feel like the Eagles just need to figure some more things out. Jalen Hurts, is he really the guy? We got to see him take more command of that offense. We got to see a lot of things. We've really got to see some more things out of the Eagles. Once again, this is all talk, speculation. It happens on the field, so some of you probably tuned out already if you're Eagles fans. My apologies. But I really do feel like right now the Eagles have their work cut out for them, and if they are not firing on all cylinders early, then the Cowboys might just run away with it. So, once again, I got the Eagles between 11-6 and 9-8. Can the Eagles be a 12-win team? Of course. They can be a 15-win. It's all about how they perform. So, but once again, I don't see them being worse than 9-8. And I definitely don't see them under 500 unless they just fall apart. Now, my third place team, of course, I have my third and fourth, the Commanders and the Giants. I got to tell you, the Commanders look. I want to give them double digits. I want to. I always go off about that defensive line. I'm a defensive line guy. In my opinion, they're one of the best in the NFL. They have pieces. They have solid pieces in certain places. The problem is other places they're just not so strong. The offensive line, they got to get it together. They got to protect the quarterback. As of right now, we don't even know what's happening with. I don't know. They have a weird little. They really do. They have a very odd type of team. They have solid pieces, like I said, but not everywhere. So, am I talking crap on Carson Wentz? Not really. But will this be the place for him? I don't know. How can he lead this team? We remember seeing Nick Foles lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl. So I guess it's not completely out of the ordinary if Wentz does the same thing with the Commanders. But I don't know. I just kind of don't see it. The offensive line, it's good. Logan Thomas. I mean, you have it's solid. I'm sorry, Logan Thomas. That's a tight end. I'm sorry. You have players. Okay, Charles Leno Jr. I mean, they're there. But I don't really know how this offensive line will hold up against lines like the Eagles. Even the Cowboys' defensive line is pretty strong. The battle's in the trenches. Earlier, I don't know if anybody got to see in the chat room here, but Marcus and I were talking about this, and I want to quote Marcus real quick on here. He says, the O-line used to be one of the strong suits, so he was talking about the Giants, and no one drafted O-lines and D-lines like in the early 2000s, and I agree. Man, there were some monsters back then, or at least I feel like they were more prioritized. Like, no, we need the big men, because as I mentioned, the name of the game really is, and I'm talking about, like, no joke, I write back to Marcus and I say, I don't even get how they've gotten, how they haven't in so long, meaning I don't know how teams haven't drafted big boys like this in so long, because the trenches are the meat and potatoes of the team. I remember my freshman coach telling me that back in when I was a freshman in high school, and it's the truth, man. Like the trenches, that's the name of the game. I put protect your quarterback and get pressure on the other quarterbacks. That's the name of the game. I told that to Marcus here in the chat room, and it's the truth, man. Like you can't, if the quarterback is under pressure, there goes everything. If you have a nasty nose guard who's all up in that center's grill, you're going to mess the snap up. Who gets the ball every play? Guess what? It's not the receivers. Quarterback, yes, but before the quarterback even touches the ball is in the dirt, all right, in the grass, in the turf, whatever you're playing on, and it's the center, okay? If that dude messes up, everything goes ape crap, all right? Everything. So if you get a nose guard who gets off the ball and who just sticks it to the center, guess what, y'all? No play. So what I'm saying is the center, of course, very important. But when it comes down to it, defensive line, I mean, you need those dogs to get back there. Pressure. The wide receivers, no one's getting the ball if the quarterback's getting smacked. No, the quarterback isn't even getting the ball if the center is getting smacked. And the same thing on the other side. If you cannot get to the quarterback and you give that guy all day, a mediocre quarterback can do great with 7 seconds. You feel me? I mean, that's really what it is, you guys. So the trenches are important, and I think we definitely see prime examples of that. Of course, all through the NFL, duh. But here in the NFC East, because once again, you see offensive lines that they're so-so, and then defensive lines that are pretty solid. If you give, I kind of feel like if you put the Dallas Cowboys offensive line on the Eagles, oh damn, that's different. Now we have a pretty damn good Eagles team. If you put that same offensive line here on the Commanders, my gosh, what do we have now? You have one of the best defensive lines, and that's still in my opinion, in the NFL for the Commanders, and now you have one of the best offensive lines. Carson Wentz is, he's all right. He's a pretty okay quarterback. Guess what? You give him a little time, he's going to turn into, people are going to be saying, oh, elite. This is because, once again, the timing. How hard is it to throw the ball? How hard is it to get the ball off if there's a guy in your face in like 2 seconds, okay? Not even, within a second. I'm just saying, guys, the trenches. So this is huge. This is very, very huge for every team, but this plays such a big factor in the NFC East. So we have that, okay? And I feel like right now, the Commanders between 9-8 and 7-10. The Commanders, I want to give them 10 and what is that? 10 and 7? Yeah, 10 and 7. This new week is messing with me, you guys. the addition, the extra week. But I feel like we have just, kind of forgotten about the big boys. And I don't know. Now it's kind of a mixture, I guess. I mean, the dominance of the trenches, it's there sometimes. But, I get, don't get me wrong, flashy wide receivers and quarterbacks and running backs are always nice. But at the end of the day, you still need to protect the quarterback and get pressure on the other quarterback. So, yeah, I've seen that decline as well. Marcus, so I'm right there with you, brother. But, anyway, I want to give, I know I'm all over the place, my apologies, but my thoughts. But the Commanders certainly have a chance to be a double-digit team, a double-digit victory team. They could really make the playoffs if somebody else slips up. Look at the NFC West last year. 3 teams made the playoffs. it could happen. It really could. The Commanders, I'm not counting out. They really could be that dark horse team. They really could. We'll see what Wentz can do. It's a possibility. We really do have a strong possibility that 3 teams from this division can go on. I mean, it really can happen, just depending on how well those dang Commanders play. I do have the Cowboys and Eagles in it. We'll see. But Commanders, if they're below 9 if they're 9-8 or below that, I just don't see it happening. And that's it. But I don't see them going worse than 7-10. If they have a collapse, they may be 7-10. But if they're worse than 7-10, then the Commanders have many more problems than just getting an offensive line. All right. So anyway, then in the basement, the New York Giants. It sucks. I really like Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is a beast, man. This guy puts in work. He just seems like that workaholic type of guy. He really, really gives his all. I mean, I get it. They're in the NFL. They all do. But you can see, man, this guy just pours everything into this. And it sucks. It sucks when your team is, where it is. Letting go Will Hernandez. Okay, I know they picked up some more offensive linemen. Sweet. But, I guess they felt that was the best. But solid offensive lineman. I know some people are like, bland. No, he wasn't. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's elsewhere now. But as of right now, will this offensive line be able to hold up? Can they give Barkley anything? Because as Marcus said here in the chat room earlier, Marcus Lowe's great, Niner fan, and the host of our boxing / MMA show, our combat sports show, Gloves Off. It's true. Can Saquon Barkley stay healthy? And a lot of that, health is just, you can't control health. Things happen, you get hit, things happen. But, you could give him some lanes, in this offensive line, they're all right. John Feliciano, Evan Neal was a huge pickup. I just felt like, I don't know, they need to improve this. Everyone wants to talk bad about Daniel Jones. The guy's not horrible. They also have Tyrod Taylor, Tyrod Taylor, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Taryn once said that in one of his shows, or I think on this show before, has his correct pronunciation, so my apologies, Mr. Taylor. But Daniel Jones, I wouldn't consider him elite. He's kind of middle of the road. He's starting on an NFL team, so, it kind of says something. Even if he isn't that great, he was good enough to get there at least, to at least be proven wrong that he isn't an elite or isn't a starter. But guess what? He's started, and that's not something that a lot of us can say, on an NFL team, especially at quarterback. So, I feel like you need more. The addition of Danny Bellinger, really cool, good stuff there. But, come on, man. There needs to be more. Free agency, they needed to go after more, I think. I just felt like maybe next year, just continue to beef up that offensive line. They need it. Once again, Daniel Jones, he can throw the ball. You have Saquon Barkley. All right? That's no diss to the wide receivers. Galladay, Shepard, who else I got over there looking at our lads in the depth chart? Tony, Kadarius Tony. Look. They have solid athletes. We get it. But you have Saquon Barkley. Come on, man. I've seen this dude, we've all seen him power clean 405. It's awesome, man. Can they get this guy some open lanes? My gosh. It's like, how do you do that? It's like buying a brand new shiny car and, never washing it. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Man, you have a beautiful car, you're going to take care of that thing, or having a beautiful home and just never cleaning your yard or your house, It just doesn't make any sense. You got to take care of them. And don't get me wrong, that's anything. That's anything. Don't care what kind of car you have or what kind of property or house or whatever. You always want to keep those things clean. But I'm just trying to make the comparison here. You got to take care of Barkley. And the same thing with the quarterback. I don't care what he is. You got to take care of him. And if you take care of them, they're going to take care of you. I guess that was a pretty good analogy, right? That's what I think with the cars. But it's the truth, you guys. So overall, what's going on, Taryn? Welcome back in the chat room, brother. I know he's at work, but thanks for tuning in, man. So really, that's how it is. Personally, I just don't see the Giants being better. And you heard earlier Keith saying that if it's a 7-10 year, it's pretty successful for them. I agree wholeheartedly. I think if they go 7-10, that's probably their highest they're going to go. I have them going better than last year. What was it, 4-13 last year? So I'm at least giving them 5-12. Could they be 4-11, 4-13 again? Yeah, they can easily. If they look like they did last year, of course they can. But I don't like it. The Giants give me a nasty, that they got just a nasty taste to you guys. I don't know. I don't like it. My gosh. Protect Jones, give Barkley some lanes, and then the defense, my goodness. Leonard Williams, solid. Aziz, Dexter, Ellis, that's a pretty good defensive line. They're pretty good. Blake Martinez is back there. Now they added Thibodeau. I mean, look, guys. Adoree Jackson, remember him being back there from USC? They have, their defense is pretty okay. I think their defense they can hang. But don't put your defense in the situation where they're playing out of a 60-minute game. They're on the field for 45 minutes. I mean, my goodness. Am I saying that this offensive line is that bad? No. And Evan Neal, is a big pickup. I see it. I see they're doing it. And they're making it happen. They really are, slowly but surely. But I'm just saying, last year, it just was a dumpster fire. So those additions, I really hope. That's why I'm saying they can go as high as a 7-10 season. I think they can, honestly, depending on how things go. They are really, really, really addressing their needs. Some teams, I don't know what they're doing. Like, let's try this. No, let's not try this. It's not time for trial and error. You got to make it happen, man. I get it. Sometimes trial and error is all you have. That's why the preseason's there. Now it's down to 3 games. But I don't know. It is what it is. You never really see the true deal until the full product is in the field in regular season. But like Terrence says here, Giants are improved, but can they win on the field? And yeah, that's really what I'm trying to say. Thanks, Terrence. I feel like the Giants need to just continue what they're doing and just, once again, the name of the game, protect your weapons, and that defense needs to play like lights out. This defensive line, I think, can match up against the Cowboys. I think so. I really think they can. But, once again, can this offense score on that Cowboys defense? I think this defense can hang with I really think they can hang with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are definitely good. I think they're a better team than the Giants for dang sure. But I feel like this defense is going to give them a little bit of problems. But once again, when they're so worn out, what are they really going to do? The Eagles are going to roll on them. And the same thing with the Commanders. The Commanders have I just said it right now, an offense that looks like they can do something. But how long can this offense, can their defense, can the Giants defense hold this offense if their offense is getting slaughtered by that amazing defensive line they have on the Commanders? I'm just saying. So it's really the task of the offense. I mean, it's a team sport. I get it. The defense needs to continue no matter how many minutes are on the field. I mean, if the defense plays 45 minutes and the game is still freaking 3-0 at the end of the third quarter, I mean, they're doing their job, So the offense needs to get it in gear. Terrence says here, Washington's biggest question, can Carson Wentz stay healthy and turn into his dominant self before injuries? That's up to him. Unfortunately, it's not. Injuries happen. Nobody gets hurt this year. Of course, we know that's unrealistic, but I'm hoping and praying that everyone has a good, healthy season and there are no serious injuries. At least no serious injuries. But it's hard to address that. Carson Wentz can, once again, he has a solid team behind him. But is it enough? The defense, once again, I feel like the Commanders and the Giants are similar. You have an offense that has some question marks on the Commanders, but I think they're a better offense than the Giants. And then you have two defenses that are good. I think, once again, the D-lines are pretty solid. But, the back seven. There's some question marks. Once again, solid. So that's really how it goes. Okay, and then the Cowboys and Eagles, same deal. Same deal. Cowboys have a pretty strong offense. Eagles have a pretty strong offense. Dallas Cowboys have a defense that I feel is good enough to get them another division title. The Eagles have a defense that can compete with the Cowboys offense. So really, that's how it stacks up to me, you know. And you put those two teams versus the bottom two teams, or at least how I have them, the Commanders and the Giants, and I just see victories. I see victories don't be surprised if the Eagles and the Cowboys sweep both the Commanders and the Giants. The Commanders will fight. I don't know if that's possible that they'll get swept, but I'm just saying, it's not a surprise. But if they don't, cool. I want to see a very tough division. I want to see a very good, very, very, very good, what is that? How many games? 6 games, per when they play each other. So with that said, you guys, that's going to pretty much do it. Terrence is here in the chat room. We got a question. So he says, Philly's biggest question, can Jalen Hurts rise to the occasion in the big moments? Well, just talked about that. He's growing, but not quite there yet. He's getting there, though. Yeah, once again, it's just talked about that, Terrence, before you got on. Can he? Will he? And this offensive line, of course, needs to hold him upright. And then Dallas, he says, biggest question is how far can Dak Prescott take the Cowboys? And when do the number of excuses start to dwindle for the Cowboys? Yeah, same deal earlier. Some people think, I just said it once again before Taryn got on here, can the Cowboys get past where they were last year? They ran into, and I stole that from Taryn, the buzzsaw that was the Niners. Marcus liked that. But yeah, it was a solid performance from both sides. Very great defensive game, 12-6. But can the Cowboys, if they run into that again this next year, will they have the firepower to make that happen so early in the playoffs and then continue a very hard schedule in the playoffs? It's so hard to talk about the NFC East right now, getting past the first round, because I don't know. The Eagles too. They lost the first round last year too. I don't know. Can they? Of course they can. Will they? We don't know. So I don't know if any of these teams are Super Bowl caliber. I think the Dallas Cowboys are the closest to Super Bowl caliber at the moment. Out of the entire NFC East, but we shall see. So, with that said, you guys, that is my final weigh-in right there. Dallas Cowboys between 13-4 and 12-5. The Philadelphia Eagles between 11-6 and 9-8. The Commanders between 9-8 and 7-10. And the Giants between 7-10 and 5-12. It is a huge possibility that I am completely wrong. Because, hey, these are just speculation, right? But it's all good. You know what? I do feel that I love it. It's fun doing this show. And I do feel that it is just a amazing thing that all of us diehards can come together, talk some trash, have some fun, but support our team. Support our teams, and no matter how we support them, whether you're somebody who's just consistently like, it's all right, or somebody like me who gets pissed off and starts freaking talking crap about my Raiders. But it's all good. I love them no matter what. But anyway, at the end of the day, I do feel that, and by the way, that's the only I'm just like that with the Raiders. No, with all my teams, so, but nothing else in life. Just my teams, just my sports teams. But anyway, you guys, with that said, man, it has been a great show. Once again, you guys, if you didn't catch it a little bit ago, tomorrow's show and Thursday's show will be moved around a little bit. Got called into work for the rest of the week, so I'm really happy about that. Chance to make a little bit of money during summer school, yay, before the actual school year starts up in August. So tomorrow's show for the NFC South will be at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and we'll run all the way until 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursday's show, same deal, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll run to 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and that will do it. So tomorrow we have here the NFC South, and on Thursday we have the NFC North. Man, those are some fun divisions to talk about, right? My goodness, I trip out, right? The NFC South, the Falcons, they fell off. Crazy, right? what are they going to do this year? The Panthers are just like the biggest question mark in the NFL. What's going on? Like, can they compete? Now they got Baker Mayfield. I mean, you can say, like, wow, that's crazy, right? The Saints, it's like they have the team. But what are they going to do with it? I mean, it's not like the great teams that they've had in the last decade. But they're not far off from it, and I get it. I mean, Drew Brees is probably the biggest part of that. But once again, what can they do this year? And then the Buccaneers. I mean, my gosh, Tom's back again for like, what, his 22nd season or something like that? I mean, come on, man. Like, Brady's doing his thing. All I'm saying is tomorrow's going to be a great show. Thursday is going to be a fun one as well. NFC North. Will Aaron Rodgers continue to dominate the division here? The Vikings, are they going to keep going backwards, or are they finally going to move forward? The Lions are the Lions. I mean, man. Are they going to win? Are they going to get are they going to get a good amount of wins this year? And the Bears, I mean, is that youngster Fields going to make things happen? Is the defense going to help out? Is the offense going to do anything? I mean, it's so crazy. I love it. These are two more fun divisions. I mean, they all are. But two divisions coming up in the next 2 days. And, well, that's going to do it. We are halfway, y'all. We are officially halfway through the NFC West and NFC East in the books now. And, well, we are ready to rock and roll for the second half. We have 8 teams down, 8 to go in 8 divisions in 8 days. NFC week. But in the big picture now, man, we got 24 teams to go. 8 teams are down, 24 teams to go in the NFL. Next week, the AFC. Of course, AFC week, that's going to be a lot of fun. Lots of things to talk about there. But, well, that's just how it goes. So, my final win. I know, I talk a lot. My wife will tell you the same. But certainly had a lot of fun and just enjoyed the heck out of this show, as all of them, and it has just been amazing. Big shout out to the SoCal Warriors, our sponsors. Great team. Looking forward to another great season this year. And yeah, I know I didn't mention them last week or yesterday's show, so my apologies. And of course, big ups to all of our Patreons, amazing people. And I got to have that list tomorrow. But thank you to all of our Patreons, awesome people, and just overall great stuff here at IA Sports Radio. We couldn't appreciate you all enough. Once again, you guys make this thing go around. As always, big shout out to the man upstairs. Where's that applause button? That's right. To our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, nothing is possible. And it's just all love, man. So we appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, Taryn. Well, that's the end of the show anyway. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. KO, Marcus, the chat room today. You guys were amazing. Tons of love, man. Appreciate you all so very much. And, well, there's only one thing left to do, and I think y'all know what it is. It's time to cue the music, because we're out of here! All right, y'all. It was a fun one. How about this show? Plenty of great things. Make sure to check us out at IE Sports Radio on Twitter. Follow the show at 3&Out, all spelled out, IESR. Check us out at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, of course, as I already mentioned. Instagram, our brand new TikTok. I'm posting up all of the segments right now. Having fun doing that, posting up all the Stick and Film segments and just all kinds of great stuff. We have lots of fun. We appreciate all of you for what you guys do. You're amazing. Seriously, you're all amazing. And appreciate you all for just showing us love throughout the years. 8 years on air. Man, how about that, right? So, once again, we just want to say thanks again. It has really been a special 8 years for us. And, well, every year it continues to get more special. So we thank you all so very much. Make sure to check out our website, iesportradio.com. Starting to mess that a little bit more and get it a little nicer. At least start cleaning it up and updating it and doing all that good stuff there. So we got that coming up. Lots of great shows coming on up here today. The Yinzer Report has moved. As you can see, we're live at its time today. But 5 shows today. Well, actually, it's 5. It was going to be 6. But we got the premiere of Peach State Press next Tuesday. But yeah, so check this out. The Yinzer, this is all Pacific Standard Time, but the Yinzer Report at 2 p.m. Next week will be Peach State Press at 3. Then at 4, we have the Buffalo Huddle. At 5, Philly Sports Talk. 6, the Neutral Zone, and then we ended off with Sin City Sports with Kel Henderson at 7. No Sin City Sports today. He'll be off. But overall, I'm telling you, man, just great stuff. Seriously, don't know if the Neutral Zone will be live today either. It's off season for them, but they're still doing the draft and all that good stuff. But anyway, with that said, you guys, so many great things here at IE Sports Radio, and we couldn't appreciate you more. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. All of our guests today, once again, Mr. Mike Pat, Cash, and Chris. We had Keith and IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer class 2019, Ashton. Great people, and couldn't appreciate you more, y'all. With that said, that's going to do it for day 2 of 3 and Outs, 8 Division 8 days, NFC Week, NFC East Day. We're coming back at you tomorrow with day number 3 of 8 Divisions in 8 days, day number 3 of NFC Week, and the NFC South. That's going to do it for today, y'all. As always, this is me, your boy Larry B, signing off. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.